welcome to Heralds Tactica, a spin-off episode from the Heralds Heresy podcast. This is episode 1, and today we're covering Ruinstorm Demons. I put my teeth back in. The guys, the other Heralds, are off fighting demons in the warp at the moment, so you're stuck with me. My name's Richard, you should know me by now. But today I'm joined by Tom Meaker of Greetings from the Warp. And Alex Wanless from Legion of Peterborough.
Hey, you right?
Right, so guys, Daemons. Now I know you guys love Daemons. You've been playing them for the last 10 months since the book dropped.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, what is it? About 11 months from the Weekender, where we got the first details. And then the book came, what, a month later? Well, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it was delayed quite a bit, but it was worth the wait.
Yeah, Smiling Pirates, wasn't it, with all the jokes? So we bought it off the captain, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
I got a copy.
But yeah, so it's coming up to like 10, 11 months since we. So these guys have been playing Demons for a little while. I think you play from as soon as Malevolence dropped, really. But you've been Tom Meaker, people can't see who I'm pointing to. Tom's been playing Demons for a little while now in other games, haven't you? 40k and.
I've been playing them since 5th edition 40k through to current 8th edition 40k. Obviously, I've played them Heresy since the book dropped, and I played them in Age of Sigmar as well.
So as soon as you saw this,
it was easy. I'd already had an army built, so
yeah, you must have been well excited though.
Yeah.
And then Alex, are you new to Demons, or you've been playing them for a while, or?
Yeah, so for me, I got quite excited in the seminar at the Weekender. So there was like an army building seminar,
yes,
but actually it was just here's Malevolence and drool over it.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't get into that one, but the guys were coming out and they said, look, everyone here knows how to build a bloody army. So here's the book.
And it was like an Anuj and Nick, and they were just basically talking through it all, getting a lot of salt for not having Dark Angels. All that sort of stuff.
We're not getting into that, not in this episode.
No. But I actually got quite excited about it all, and actually the way that they were explaining they aren't just... You can kind of run them as your 40k kind of demons, but no one really knows what demons are yet. And when you kind of listen... Well, I listen to Heresy books, I'm a bit lazy, I'm audible all the way.
Audible.
It's fine.
But, you know, they don't actually know what they are. They think they're aliens, they think they're all these sort of things. And I've always been a massive fantasy fan. That's how I mainly played fantasy when I was younger. And I was like, so I can use all the cool monsters and do different conversions.
Yeah.
And just came out of that really excited, actually. I went with Dan Wheeler, who's also kind of known for his demons. Very beautiful army.
Yeah, didn't he do an army and then he thought they were too strong and sell it or
something
like that?
Yeah, you know.
That's because he was running them strong.
Because I remember his Thousand Sons. I played against his Thousand Sons. I had a really good game. I don't like to bring it up around him. No, I was using my Imperial Fist, but I don't like bringing it up. But I'm going to bring it up because I always bring it up when he's around. But he beat me by 2mm. He was 2mm into an objective.
How many models did you stamp on after that?
I actually kicked quite a few in, but the issue was Magnus and his Segmet went into Sigismund and his Shield Terminators. But it was all the witchy poo stuff. So it was like enfeeble and all that, so lowering my toughness, lowering everything else, and it was just, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, he was getting his Harry Potter flag for that.
But actually, it was really close. That was at Greetings.
Oh yeah.
So it was when they were recording on the stage.
Yeah.
So we were on the stage for
the last
game.
But if you actually get to know Wheeler, his dice always fail him. Like anything that can go wrong does. So actually, I don't blame him for running it wrong because he needs all the help he can get. He won't mind me saying that.
He's a good dude.
You know, he'll roll. If you need to roll anything but a 6, he'll roll a 6. It's that kind of player. But he always has good humour and paints amazingly well.
The army's
it's phenomenal. We both came out of that seminar with all those different ideas and thought, oh wow, what can we actually do? I think originally you had some kind of demons already. I think for 40k originally, for back in the day. But we kind of had this thing of, well, actually, how do we change the models to not just be bloodletters, to not just be plague bearers and all that sort of stuff? So he just did loads of stuff with like the bloodletters and put the Slanesh claws.
Yes,
and then painted them like pallid flesh, and obviously he's a phenomenal painter, so he did a really good job of doing that. And kind of I went down the route of like kit bashings and stuff, so a lot of the Marathi witch elf stuff.
Oh, okay,
might not be on people's radar, but the snake bodies with the blood letter tops on them, and like
They're
really
perfect.
mashed everything up.
They're perfect.
So what you did was go, how can I spank my wallet hard enough?
Yeah. Well, luckily that Christmas box, I call it, came out. It was like £100 for like everything.
Oh right, yeah. Saying that, we're in the heresy. Everything costs money.
Well, actually, it's probably cheaper army because it's off Simon.
You put Keeper of Secrets and Marathi together. That's about what 160, 170 quid in one model, and you cut it in half.
You know my World Eaters I did last year?
Yeah.
Guess how much that whole army cost? And that's about 3.5k.
About the same in money.
That's 1,700 quid. Because
the
whole army's resin.
Because you're talking about money in real terms. So you're not going to be overheard.
I'm one of the idiots who actually sat down and worked it out, and then he had a heart attack.
Well, all I can say is we all know Simon SUV games, and his discount that he gives. Greens for the Warp and the Legion of Beta is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he does it all off his own back, doesn't he? Lovely guy. So that actually really helps. So actually, if you look at the plastic cost, there's the big models that can cost a bit.
Yes, yeah.
But actually, the plastic is just
it's not like you're buying resin from Forge World all the time.
You're not buying like what it used to be. What, 100 quid for 10 tactical resin dudes, didn't it, back in the day, whatever it was. So yeah, the plastic's actually a really good option. And like Meaker has his army you can use in every system. Yeah. Pretty much, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good point to move into going into the book. So basically, we're going to talk about this. This is our opinions, right? So obviously, things we're going to say you might not agree with, you might agree with. If you don't agree with it, keep it to yourself. If you do agree with it, give us praise.
Or you can post it on the Demons group. We're both admins, so you'll last about 30 seconds.
Yeah, so what's the name of that group?
It's Demons of the Ruinstorm. It seems to be the only one on there. I swear there was another one, but
and that's on Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group, wasn't it? So Tom came to me going, there's no Demon groups to like talk about it, because obviously it was brand new. Had the same thing for me as when like Custodians came out the first time. Yeah, it's all new. It's new language, isn't it? It's new stuff. So who do we talk about? And it's always nice to have the Facebook groups, because your circle of friends, but actually it's everyone out there that thinks of things differently.
That's it, yeah.
So Tom made it, and he was like, can you be an admin and help out? Because it's like, you don't realise until you make a Facebook group what you actually open the wall.
Yeah. Oh Christ.
So we had to do some ban hammering pretty hard.
You have to make some big decisions as well, because we've found out with the Heralds Heresy community page.
And then it was just like some guys got a bit salty and posted up on iHorror saying, they're really crap in this group. So we put up a reason saying, we banned them because they're idiots.
Just for the record, we love the iHorrors though, because I do speak to those guys quite a lot. And they've been really good to us, and I'm not going to get, no beef.
Oh,
no, we like it, but I know what you mean. Yeah. I don't think
he
was. I don't think it's not a member of the iHorse, but he's just a guy. But you get that. I mean, I had some issues on the Imperial Fist page the other day.
You get it all over Facebook, Instagram, wherever you post it.
It's a real shame, especially in such a small. It's a small community. We shouldn't, you should wean them out.
I find that actually when you go to the local, I call it local event, your village hall events that everyone's going to, school hall events, village halls, wedding venues now for your guys.
Greetings from the wall for college.
Schools.
It's pretty school halls. We've run one in ours, a little village hall that we run things in.
I think we're the only event where you can play Heresy, drink booze, and get married at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah, that's very true.
There were a few civil partnerships about to be made, I think. Yeah. But
so what you need to do is get down to Incom and have the stag do with the strippers upstairs in the stripper room, and then go over to the venue and get married.
I'm sure I can go online and become a registrar or something. Get a certificate from somewhere.
It's a hell of a commute from Incom up to Coventry.
Yeah,
it's a heresy weekend.
Yeah, but yeah. So on the theme what you were talking about models. Obviously, one of the big things I noticed as soon as I opened this book and went to the Demon section is. They've laid it out with base sizes.
Yeah, I suppose it's because there's no actual models coming out. Obviously, we've got the brutes, which look phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think look a bit too corny.
as in corn or
as
corny.
Corn. Corn.
Actually, I think just before that, it's worth just going back a little bit and just talking about these are not like your 40k Demons.
No, they've kind of incorporated them all into one entity.
Yeah.
But there's snippets and kind of pokes in the direction of obviously the 4 Chaos Gods that are known from 40k.
Yeah.
Noble / Khorne and Siege. But as they're new to the Heresy universe as such, nobody knows what they are. They're just, as Alex said, they could be aliens, they could be whatever, but
yeah,
you can theme them how you like. You can paint them how you like. Mine are all my Slaanesh Demon army, so mine are all purple, whereas Alex's are multiple colours. You've got Dan Wheeler who's done them very flesh coloured.
Yes,
so
yeah.
I think there's some people that have done them ethereal based.
There's loads of variety out there.
There's been lots of chain rasps now that Mortal Realms has come out. Essentially everyone's going, let's do something different.
$2.99 for 10.
I don't blame you. If it's a good way to get in the game.
But it's good that you're not as pigeonholed as you are in, say, the 40k universe, where it's all you either go with Khorne or you go with Slaanesh. I think there's ways of tying them together, but I don't really play 8th edition. But with this, it's different. There's no real mention of Khorne. There's no mention of Slaanesh.
And that's, I suppose, the same. I was listening to. I'm really far behind on the Heresy books, so I'm listening to Primarchs at the moment, so all that way back. And actually, there's a bit on with the Dark Angels.
Yes. Yeah.
Night Lords. Set some demons loose on their ship, and actually, okay, that's a flamer they're describing, but they don't call it a flamer with Zinch.
Yeah.
There's flesh hounds running at them, but they're just described literally as the models, but they're called these hounds, and they think there might be something, like the things on Caliban, the warp creatures. They don't really know what they are.
What's is there a name for like Chaos Space Marines, Nurgle Chaos Space Marines? Is there a particular name for them?
What, Plague Marines?
Plague Marines. Yeah. So if you read something like Eisenstein, where you got Garrow and that, and then you've got these, they're basically Plague Marines coming at them and attacking them, but they don't call them that. There's no mention of that. There's no mention of Nurgle. There's no mention of all that lot. And this is basically where we're at, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can do that. I think it's like I did a little force for a doubles tournament or event, or whatever you want to call it.
About 2 weeks ago.
A while ago. And it was with Jamie and his word bearers, and he basically went, well, let's all go witchy poo just for a bit of fun. Yeah. Because the whole planet was collapsing and stuff. So I got literally the plague zombies, what they called the plague. And the Death Guard models just worked really nicely. You just have to take a little bit off them, and they're like Plague Marines. You can do them in the Death Guard scheme, and they look really cool. Yeah. Especially running with some Galval back next to them. That was like a really fun event, because the whole theme of that event was it was going to hell, and the last actual mission was that basically the warp gates had opened, and it was like anything with a demon rule came back.
Oh, right.
Sorry, all of our armies got
oh, Jesus.
So like, you kill the Galval back and they come back again. And
you were those guys. Right.
It just happened accidentally. Well, to be fair, it's probably
what did you say you were calling him as a nickname?
I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to say. Because in Peterborough they call you Windless.
Yeah, that's from an unfortunate typo.
In Northampton we call you something else, but it's I don't like that word. It's not a swear word, but I don't like using that word because it's not a word that we should reincorporate into heresy. So
heresy is a nice community, and the only person that applies to is Tonka. So
sorry, Tonka is whack.
Is it our father?
It had to come out. That's my first swear word, isn't it? No. That counts as a swear word. Money in the jar. Right. So when obviously you haven't got the direction of Khorne and everything like that, so you can do a right mixed bag. You can do a mixed bag of models, but it's nice to theme it. And I know in the notes, the designer notes, they like you to theme it, sort of show off on the model.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Actually, sat in that seminar was they sat there with a book in front of them, and they looked everyone in the eyes and they said, "You can break this. Don't be that guy. Don't be a dick."
I think Meaker was kind of hinting towards that earlier.
There is some brutal combinations that you, as everybody does, you look at a book and go, what is the worst thing that can be made out of this? And then you go, with this you go, oh wow, that's quite painful. And then you turn it back.
Is that a 40k mentality?
I think it is, in a way, because you've got I find with a lot of heresy players, new heresy players that came around with Betrayal of Calth, which I did because plastic.
Oh, who didn't? It's value, isn't it?
He's
Come back, Cal.
I've got a box set over there actually.
Alright, that's coming home with me, so that's good.
I think the Demon said something about that getting ruined, didn't they? Or something? I heard.
We'll just split it, shall we?
Yeah, that was it. When 40k went from 7th to 8th, a lot of people were unsure about it, and I think a lot of 40k players went over to Heresy because it was the same rule set.
Yes, yeah.
But they bring over that 40k mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll hold my hands up. I did. I tried to choose between two legions, Night Lords,
No, lads.
or Word Bearers.
Yeah.
And I was like, looking at the Word Bearers, and I was like, yes, the models are cool. And I really enjoyed the fluff. First Heretic, Betrayer, fantastic books. But it was the rules for Night Lords, the outnumbering rules that were cool.
Yeah.
I thought, that's brilliant. Turns out, it does work, but only if you run it certain ways. Fear is great.
When you remember it.
When you're going against legions that re-roll leadership.
Real leadership.
Yeah.
Two legions ignore it, so but we're not here to talk about Night
Or
Lords.
Talons.
Well, to be fair, we'll talk about it later, but every demon causes fear as well. So,
Yeah.
that's probably something to
Yeah, and because I'm limited with the armies I play. Unlimited fear doesn't pop up too often, but it's something so many people forget.
Well,
And I play against Night Lords, and they never remember it. Yet
No.
it's so powerful.
It's every combat phase as well. That's what gets me.
If it is powerful, if it goes off. But with the amount of chaplains, legions that ignore it, rerolls, you know,
Legion banners, heralds.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen enough. Personally, I think obviously I've been playing Night Lords since I started playing Heresy.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't really work as well as it should, especially against not necessarily legionaries, but it should affect mortals more. So your Solar Ox, your militia, etc.
Yeah, it's a leadership test, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a leadership test, and you go down to Weapon Skill 1 if you fail.
That's the issue with Solar Ox.
Yeah.
You're not unless
But
you
you
get
don't
rid of the
care,
Lord Marshal or the command squad, you're not going to get through
But
it.
as a a normal legionnaire or a demon of any kind, your Weapon Skill 4 against most of them are Weapon Skill 3, aren't they? And I think there's a few solo that are Weapon Skill 4.
In
and maybe
no, that's Ultramarines. I can't remember what it's called, but I know.
And there'll be some militia thing that probably makes you Weapon Skill 27 that Tomka's found. But you can. But it's just actually hitting on 3s. Okay, and actually some guys with las pistols are hitting me back on 5s instead of 4s.
And it's so Weapon Skill 4 that's like an average through the lesser demons. I mean, that still matches up to pretty much every legion list.
Some
of the special
and I suppose that's something to say is like Tom was saying, that it's very generic. So if you come from 40k and you're used to Slanesh hitting everything first, you blink and you miss it. That doesn't happen. If you're used to Khorne kind of smashing face with loads of attacks,
weapons,
AP3, it doesn't
play that way.
You can kind of theme it, like we'll talk about it a little bit later. But Crimson Tide for me is Khorne. It gives everyone rage. So that's Khorne.
Sounds alright. Sounds on my world. So that's good.
And it's like hit and run on the Slanesh kind of one, and then they've got like one Warlord trait, which means you match the initiative.
Oh, okay.
Challenge, so
right.
The initiative, even if your HQ, unless you go special characters, is 4. So it's really low for...
So to be able to take something that sort of gives you a level playing field is...
You go up against any Custode characters...
well, Custodes in general are 5 standard, aren't they?
Yeah.
Your demon, unless you have that Warlord trait, you're going last. And they could hinder.
They're going to
get into the units in a bit.
Yeah. So obviously the first bit, I know obviously we went through... They're not like your 40k demons; they play very differently. But they've added this thing with demons and bases, which when I first saw it, I was like, what?
Well,
but it kind of makes sense when you get into it.
I mean, first thing out the gate in this actual rule, which I really need to make clear for people, is it said this is a guide.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're not saying it has to be absolutely on that base, but it's saying if you're using Games Workshop models, kind of fill your boots, but this is the kind of recommended, so you can work out what size should the model be, because they haven't got a range.
Yeah.
So I started getting really excited about brutes and haven't really looked at the Sanguinius base that much.
Yeah.
So I made my little snaky dudes and thought, oh, they could be brutes. And then when you actually get, that was just from people talking and rumours that they're
because they're on a 50 mil, aren't they?
They're on a 50 mil, and
fairly
I was
big base. Yeah.
Actually, I've made kind of dudes that are on a 40 mil base, kind of Terminator size.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to cut it. Like, I'm not going to run around like 3 wounds, toughness 6, running around with these little dudes. So I kind of had to rethink that.
Yeah.
And it's giving you that guide, but I personally use Fiends of Slaanesh for my brutes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I use the guys on the Juggernauts as well, and I've kind of converted them a bit. Like my guys have eel heads from Iden of Deepkin, which I did little push molds because I'm not crazy. I didn't buy like so many of them. And then I kind of put like different claws on the bloodletters and stuff. So I made them feel a bit different, but they're like the kind of weight of model that stat line should have.
Yeah.
And you know, letters everyone's using. Just like I use the little wings. Again, it's the Marathi British Army. Use the winged dudes, the Slaanesh. Demonettes with witch elves to give them a different feel. But then that's where your army kind of, you've got issues with just using demonettes, haven't you?
Yeah, because obviously using them in 3 systems, including Heresy, they use different base sizes and everything. I mean, for example, the Demon Lord's on a 130 mil base, but in 40k and AOS, the Keeper of Secrets, which obviously are my units, are on 100 mil base. So I want to be able to use them across.
Yeah.
And Heresy community majority are as understanding. Plus, as Alex said, this is a guide.
Yeah. Well, if you've never had someone walk up to the table, get the tape measure out, and go, "Oh, you're very
if I'm honest, so we came to your event as a double D team.
Yeah.
We literally have the same model. I use mine as a Greater Demon. And you use yours as your Rune Lord.
Yeah.
So I actually thought, well, I'm making this army just for Heresy. I dabble in AOS. I've got no interest in 8th edition at all.
Yeah.
Probably not going to use them in AOS. So actually, let's stick them on these 130 mil bases.
Yeah.
Massive.
And actually, they're sat next to each other, playing opponents, and no one blinked an eyelid.
Because the levy's what, 80 mil? I think the Telemann's on 100.
I think
so it's bigger than that. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, so it is.
That Telemann's on a massive base.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I don't actually know what comes on 130. I can't think what, because I just ordered them off site.
No, it's pretty big.
From AOS.
It's going to be some of those bigger models.
Heresy.
Nothing in Heresy's on 130. No, definitely not.
Maybe one of the kind of Samus or something. Maybe he's probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think Samus is even on that.
I
mean, he's a big dude.
If he doesn't come on 130 mil base, then they're not following their own base.
Yeah.
Well, again, we have this discussion as well that if you're looking at cavalry, the actual cavalry models, so the cavalry is supposed to be on those really tiny little motorbike bases.
It's not even oval, is it?
Yeah,
it's like a
25
long
by
stretch.
75.
Yeah.
The only cavalry model that fits on that is Slaanesh.
Yeah.
Like the Sword Seekers, aren't they?
I don't know.
You can't fit a blood. If you try and put a blood crusher on that base, good luck, mate.
Oh, it's going to look ridiculous. It's going to be hanging. It's going to be hanging off the sides.
It's also it's the beasts. It's personally, if I'm thinking beasts for, if we go to the 40k range, you're thinking, well, there's Beasts of Nurgle, there's Fiends of Slaanesh, you could use just Juggernauts without the riders.
I use Fleshhounds, and they're a little bit too big for the 40s.
Yeah.
But they're kind of like hopping, so you get away with it. But they should be on slightly bigger bases.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah.
But there's no way you, like the old school Fiends, the Finecast ones. Yeah, they'd fit on 40 mil, but the current range, you think sitting there going, well, they should be on bigger ones.
Yeah.
But again, you can use whatever you want, it seems to be, and nobody's going to bat an eyelid as long as you go, that is a beast, and they go, yeah.
So you'd say as a guide it's all right, but there needs to be some flexibility, and and you're seeing that in the community that not everyone's sticking to it religiously.
Yeah, I think that's why we ended up banning some people, because they're just getting so in depth, and actually everyone's answer was, well, if that's the guy, don't play him. Like,
well, to be honest,
if
somebody was at my event or a greetings event and they rocked up with a tape measure and went, oh, it should be 130, and then they're like trying to not be using it, and I'd be like, get a life.
Yeah, I mean, it helps me a little bit. So like I run a Behemoth, and that's a night base.
Yes, yeah.
And I kind of got, I can't remember what his name is. He's one of the Forge World big demon princes. He's got the sword, the axe and shield.
Is that Angra?
No, it's a different guy. He's got the axe and the shield.
Right.
I can't remember what his name is, but anyway.
Is he the guy in that picture we were looking at?
No, that's just the demon prince.
Oh, right, okay.
That's the Cornwall. But in regards to demon princes, when I first got the book, I looked through and tried to match models to the base size. Demon Shrikes are flying monstrous creatures.
Yeah.
Which are the same size bases as demon princes, which work perfectly in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, as I've said, I use my demonettes. I've tried putting them on 32mm, and they look ridiculous. They're far too slender for a 32mm.
It just doesn't work. Yeah.
But I jump on the internet, I go on eBay and get base extenders, so I can just pop them in, a little bit of blue tack, and use them for the event. Not a problem. Then I'll take them off and I can use them for 40K,
AOS and 40K. Yeah. So, but then people like they like their bases a certain way. Someone from a hobby standpoint, might not want to do that. But then that's only really going to affect you if you're playing multiple game systems. So
it's not a huge amount.
And anyway, there's only really one game system.
The Resident Master Race. It's not Resident anymore.
We say that,
really.
but we've just all gone, oh yeah, we really like the Betrayal of Chaos set, which is all plastic.
Yeah. But it's Marzal, the
heresy, though.
Marzal, the Butcher Demon of Khorne, and he actually comes on a 100mm.
Oh, right.
Scenic base. But I put him on like a Mage Wrath throne, I think it's called. It's like this little. It actually looks like a little vampire's throne.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The bottom bit kind of looks like a stepped temple. And then I've got some bits from the.
Is that the one you see a lot of people converting the gash to sit on?
I think
Is
so.
that one? Yeah.
I kind of didn't put the statues on, put some 40k statues on it, and he just stands on that, and that takes up a night space, and he looks quite imposing.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of like the security.
And you use him as the big one.
He's the Behemoth.
He's the Behemoth.
So,
right. Okay.
You
heavy
could say.
support.
It's a heavy support on a night base, like 10 wounds, and I think the fact that I can do that scenic base that fits to the rest of the army makes him look imposing and he's about the right size for me. Whereas if I just put him on his 100mm base, I wouldn't feel... That's the one it comes with. It says, you can use that if you want to.
Yes,
but I probably wouldn't feel comfortable going that's a better.
No.
But it gave me that guidance to say, if you want to run that unit, get that base and fill it.
Yeah.
You can probably have 1,000 Nurglings, whatever you want. But it could be.
So I think what we're saying is,
that would be cool.
Use it like they say as a guideline, but don't let it overtake your thoughts on building the aesthetics of an
it's
army
your hobby.
how you want.
Yeah. If somebody's going to have a problem with it, they're not worth bothering.
They're not worth playing. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I know the demons are getting. They're quite strong and they can be quite strong. But actually, if you are that player that wants to do something really cool. And you can't quite find the rules to do it because you want to play, because everyone wants to play. This is the absolute your little Bible. You go, right, what's cool that fits on this? And if you do go and check that group out, we're not like, you don't have to play Demons to enter it.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm going to get on
There's so many cool little things people have done, or different ideas. Like Howard, who he comes to greetings. I think he comes down to Peterborough, but he's from Melton Mowbray.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah.
He got rid of them, but he used semantic stuff, but he used horrors and he covered up their eyes with green stuff. And
Did he mix them with word bearers?
Yes.
I played him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played him with my Talons. And
things.
that was the first time I ever played against Demons. So it was a couple of games before I played you, Tom, in the last game of that event. And it was great fun. They were tough as nails. And I was throwing sisters into them. Janet, Valdor, everyone. And they were holding their own. Especially when they're sitting next to the portals. But we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so I think we'll cover that bit. So next, turn the page over.
Oh, this is probably worth talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so what have we got here?
Yeah, it's the way that morale affects the demons. It's obviously different. It's not as they were in 40k before coming over.
This caught me out when I was playing against a few people.
It's actually obviously everybody that's played against demons knows they're nails.
Yeah.
But
they're not your average dude. They don't think they're not wired that way. So
the morale, I think I can understand why it's low for a gaming perspective, but I don't know why they're representing it as low as it is, because the basic one's only leadership 7.
But then it's not like they're running, because I when it first popped up in the game I was playing, I was like, oh yes, I won combat. Oh, he's fearless leadership. I'm just gonna walk over him. No, you know, I didn't think they were fearless. I don't think they're fearless.
No, this is instead.
So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna walk in. And he's like, nah, I roll on this chart, and I thought, that's cool. My first thought was that's cool. I wasn't gutted that I didn't run him over.
And this is the same chart in Psychic Phase 2. So basically what happens if you fail your leadership check, you know, you can be modified by combat res and everything from shooting. You basically take a roll on a d6 table that's...
so Ruinstorm's Peril of the Warp table.
Yeah, so you know, I have to watch myself here because I always say miscast. So yeah, that's my roots in fantasy. But it's you basically, it's a really simple version that you can almost kind of remember. But if you roll a 1, you're in trouble. But it's not quite as bad as like the main Psyker, because actually these guys come from the warp. They're made from.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yes,
but it still hurts. So you know, you go down to weapon skill, ballistic skill, and initiative 1 for the phase,
which
and
really hurts.
Yeah, I mean, you know, actually, when you look at the amount of monstrous creatures in the army, it's putting you on par with the melter bombs. And we've got some stories about that we can tell you later. And they take D3 wounds. And if you think most of the monsters are single creatures, when they lose combat, that's when you start to chew at them.
That's going to hammer them.
2 to 5, again, is D3 wounds and nothing really happens. You can lose some psychic dice as well.
No saves of any kind.
Yeah, so you just take it off. Doesn't matter how you've made your force.
Yeah.
You just lose it.
Like we said, against the bigger demons, the amount of times I roll perils on 2 dice when we know the psychic phase isn't what it should be. I need to relook, but and you just go, right, I've just taken 3 wounds. That's your demon lord. That's halved.
Yeah.
He's your main leader to the army, and you just gone. You've just.
So is this to represent that they're in flux? They're not quite because obviously it's where the warp enters the real realm. You know, it's not going to be as strong as them being in the warp.
And that was the whole thing. The whole army's stronger at the start, but it can go wrong. And you can actually, if you roll a 6, you get better. Yeah. So you get +1 to your weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative, and you get extra psychic dice. So that it does really show that old school kind of perils of the warp.
And there's a nice randomness to it as well.
They've simplified it because actually, if every time you failed leadership check in a game, you had to look at a D12 or whatever it's called. Yeah. You know.
No, this is quite a simple system, and it's very quick as well. What's the second 2 to 5? The tides be calmed.
Yeah, so you just literally get
you just
D3,
take wounds.
Yeah, take D3 wounds, and you lose some psychic dice if you're in the psychic phase. So
if that's a unit, so say it's a multiple unit, because I think some units. Well, this is how the leadership works. It's just going to remove the wounds on an individual guy, and then you can do the next guy.
It's just wound allocation, like from shooting or combat. But like we said, I think in the doubles game at least we both had only 1 or 2 levels of psychic, but you know you're in combat. You buff yourself because you can take biomancy and buff these monsters. And oh no, okay, right. So I've failed that, so I'm now going to get a kick in from. Well, May had his armigers, so he's kicking us with his rad phage, rad stuff, rad everything. I think bless him, he didn't actually get his rad flamers off.
No, he didn't.
But if he did, he would have been instant death in our demon.
They're horrible. They are.
So he was like grinning and then failed, which was quite. It's always nice when great plans fail.
It's like you're going down. Damn it!
But I think both of us failed. Perils and went. Okay, right. That's half our wounds. You're never going to start getting clawed down now. And then actually, like you said, if it's a bigger unit, it just can take models off.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about army composition later, but.
Yeah.
You loads of little dudes or you loads of big monsters, there's definitely kind of a different power shift with how you run them, and actually it's probably the opposite to what you think with that.
Yeah, I think coming into this it's so different to anything else.
Yes, which
Heresy.
is brilliant in Heresy.
Yeah.
Obviously when it started it's Marine against Marine, and then they've expanded it since with Militia, Solar Orcs, Custodes, Sisters,
Talons and that,
now Demons. So
you could really go for it now. Obviously all the Mechanicum stuff as well, and there's so many variants of Mechanicum, you know what I mean, Cybernetical, all that lot. But so what's this Parting of the Veil? So is this is about the warp riffs,
so
and this is massive.
This is why demons are different to every army, really. So you don't, it's like running that drop pod list. Everything is in reserve. So what you do have is these.
So the entire army at the start of the game is in reserve.
Nothing can be deployed apart from possessed.
Oh, okay.
So there are possessed, so you can run your little kind of gribbly zombies or possessed marines.
Yeah,
I mean, they're absolutely like, they're low stats, they're like zombie stats. Even the marines aren't quite as powerful.
Yeah,
they can go on your deployment zone, and there is tactically reasons to have them.
Right.
I've not really seen anyone run them.
No, it's a case of if you were going to run possessed marines, you'd probably go word bearers and run Galvorback, or if you're running possessed militia, you'd probably just go militia and do the. I'm not very familiar with them, but where they get rending and
I'm not sure.
Yeah, the zombie.
I'm a Solar Rocks player, so yeah.
Basically,
all the Tonka whack.
all the whack.
Well, everyone went there, didn't they? Like, everyone did run a zombie list, but I think they toned that down because it used to be fearless. I think it's stubborn now or something. But yeah, it used to be there. So there's better ways to run them, and actually, why can't you run them as allies anyway? So
yeah,
exactly. Actually, I'd like to see demons as the allies to the militia. Like, so they've actually gone that crazy. The demons are popping out as well, so you can run it that way.
You only have to look at the word bearers. Like you read the books. No fear.
No fear.
No fear. Well, you look in that, and they've got all these militia coming down, and they're all just as mad as the word bearers. They've all got the knives, special knives, and things like that. But it's all militia, but they all believe, and they believe in the warp, and they believe in
that new Necromunda gang is just screaming for that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just, like the flesh guys, bring them on with loads of
crazy.
Yeah.
And it'd be seen the new Goliaths?
Yeah, they're looking jacked up.
So hench.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some Mad Max combos with the Orc vehicles. I want to do that one day.
I love where it's going, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah, anyway.
But so these portals.
Yeah. These are placed exactly the same as objectives. So 6 inches away from board edge, 12 inches away from any other warp rift or an objective, which can cause a lot of issues because they're 5-inch markers, so large blast.
Yeah, it says there it's basically a blast template, isn't it? Yeah.
It's you've got to be careful if you are placing, because some of the missions obviously have lots of objectives.
Yes.
So if you're placing them,
so if you play Dominion, like Dominion or War of Lies, and you've got 5 objectives on the table,
you can really zone yourself out.
And that's the thing as well. You have to then actually. It's playing in that phase then.
So they're placed before objectives?
No, afterwards.
After. So
obviously you can matter. So whoever wins the roll to have the most. So if you have 3 or 2, and then where they're placed, and then if I'm running demons, I'll be popping them in the person's deployment zone as close as I can.
Yeah.
So I've got the rest of the board to play with to put my markers down. Whereas if I was playing Marines, I'd be like, oh no, I want them close because I want to grab my objectives and maybe play. Depends what list you have,
and like keep those portals away from you.
Whereas actually the portals, you need to get as close as you can because they're our entry point, and the army's kind of designed to hit hard at first, so you don't want to be foot slogging across the board.
Yes, you
want to be close and personal, and they go out, and then objectives go down, the warp rift markers go down. And then infiltrators and scouts and stuff happen, and they have to stay 12 inches away from the portal. So you can also play some tactics in the deployment zone. So before you even get your models out, you've got all this to play with, and these go down after the opponent puts models down. So it's objectives. They put the whole army down, even if they're going first or second. It doesn't matter.
Okay. So they deploy because you're not deploying anyway.
And then then these portals pop up out of nowhere, so they don't know where we're putting up models.
So in one way, there's the potentially a lot of restrictions on where you can place because of objectives, deployment zones, things like that, or their army more than deployment.
And then one of the first questions we asked you guys was when we were running double demons, which doesn't happen. Double D was actually, do we have 6 warp rift markers? And then only
you couldn't have put them on the table.
Exactly. So do I just use my own? And Meaker just uses his own.
Yeah, I think I answered it pretty quickly.
So it'll be just add 3.
Well, it just won't work.
No, it would just be.
Especially you saw some of the deployment maps, some of the missions we did. It wouldn't have worked at all.
And I think that's where we're doing something weird because usually you wouldn't have that situation because you're not you can't ally demons with demons. You'd only ever have 3, and actually it's then to say. You get 3 for your army, but if you're an allied detachment, you just get the 1 portal. Because
you may have a similar issue pop up. I know Greetings from the Warp are doing a doubles event in May. And you may have a similar issue. Where if you're doing double demon, even though it's 1,000 points per player, you're going to have the same problem, really. But I imagine it'll just be the same. just
that's the
free
suggestion.
between
Anyone
you.
who runs
Yeah.
events, just say share the portals. Honestly, it's loads.
Otherwise, it's going to be so much hassle.
Yeah.
And if you can't place it, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't arrive on the table.
Yeah, so I think the worst one that Demons can play is the ambush one, when the opponent chooses the middle.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 36 inches from, 18 inches either side in a circle. Yeah. And actually, I think I played the beautiful Meadows greetings actually with a massive hangover.
He's so hot.
I bet I literally only put 2 down, I think, in like the far corners. And again, obviously that was sisters and custodes and stuff. So.
Can you decide to just put 2 down? Say you didn't want. I mean, I don't know why you would, but could you limit it?
You want all 3 because the bonus is whilst models. So even if as part of units, only half of them are within 6 of the portals.
Yeah,
you get a reroll of all invulnerable save.
That is so strong.
Is huge.
Which is actually, I think, mathematically better than a 4-up.
Yeah, they come with a 4-up armor save.
Yeah, but what I mean is, if you would decide between a 4-up invuln, so a 4-up invuln is a 50% chance. A rerollable 5, I think, is 56% chance of success. Better. So it's actually slightly better.
I don't know, but
I didn't work that out, by the way. I think May did it. So
half the time, obviously, if you fire in bolters at a normal demon, it's got a 4-up armor save.
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
But I'm stood next to the portal, so half the time I will take the rerollable invuln.
Yeah, that's an interesting one though.
It just feels better though, when you fail it, and then look at your opponent and go, "Yep, made it again." That's right.
No, because when I played the guy we were talking about earlier with word bearers and demons, I was so new, I didn't even know, right? And then he's like, he's rolling and he's failing these 5s, and I'm like, yes, I'm getting through. I'm going to munch through. And then he's doing these re-rolls and making them. And I'm like, Jesus,
I think
Christ,
when I've
it's so good.
Played in the greetings event this year's Jamie Fox, he dropped quad guns on me because he had his is it Army of Dark Compliance? He had his militia and Iron Warriors, and he dropped so many small blasts from quad guns on me. He must have got over 30 hits.
And I think they're AP4. No, AP5. No, AP5.
But I took the rerollable, and I think, bearing in mind the basic demons are 2 wounds, I think I took 1 model off. After
sounds like our game.
I was quite impressed when we did a practice game at the club, and we played Flaming Banana, like Castle Flaming Bloody Banana. But you know what?
Collister
we got beat on that game.
Riddick,
but, but those the plasma preds, of course, hail of gunfire into the lesson demons, and I think you probably took like 2 off.
Yeah, because if you were re-rolling,
we all sat there going, well, if that was a Marine squad, it'd be dead. Any Marine squad, I don't care what it was. The amount of firepower that came
and
out
it's
of
not doubling you out because
it's just 7 runs and the 5 at the time. So we'll talk about
even that. Yeah, because I think that's coming up next. Is it? So warp rifts, I think we've covered.
But the only thing to say about that is that this is actually an army you can table yourself first turn if you're really careful. So everything comes on from turn 1, but you have to roll a 3-up.
Ooh.
The important thing is though that nothing affects that roll. So you get like mechanic can do like -1 or like there's warlord traits, stuff like that.
Doesn't Damocles?
I think there's something, or it might be the Land Raider.
Like
but that because it's the warp, they can't affect it. I'd like to see. I'd like to see some cool like loyalist psychers that could do something.
Because see in the smaller game. Talk about your doubles event. If you've only got a couple of units,
but they come out first turn on a 3-up. So actually, if you fail it, you could actually table yourself.
You've got a few units such as the Demon Lord and the Brutes that have a rule that allows them to come on automatically, which helps.
Well, it's actually better than that. It's pick the turn you want them on.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can actually hold them back a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you don't
risky.
Take a brute or a rune,
if the dice aren't in your favour though, and you're rolling 1s and 2s, and you're like,
be that guy,
shit.
You'd re-rack, like, wouldn't you? You're all there already.
We've all done it. Well, I played a game last week. I did a doubles game, and I used custodes, and I decided because everything can deep strike pretty much. I decided to deep strike most of the army, and of course, all delayed.
Yeah.
So that it's turn 4 before they all came in, and by that time, the opponents had covered the board, and we're like, shit.
Yeah. I think we both played Drop Assault, Terror Assault, and the same thing. Like half your army comes in, and the rest of it comes in turn 4, and by that time you just decimate it. So
with the demon stuff, you need it on the board because you can't charge from the portals.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing to say, isn't it? They're not. You can't assault from them.
Same rules as coming on from the table edge. Like you can't do anything.
So.
Which makes it. Can you imagine? Jesus.
Whoa. So each turn that you're obviously in reserve, you've still got to come on and then wait a turn before you can actually attack anything. Because, like I said,
and then potentially the next bit, the Tide of Madness, that could come into effect, couldn't it? Because if you're delayed till turn 4, you basically missed your chance to have the initial bonus.
The Tide of Madness, just to clarify, is you get boosted by the warp. For the first 2 turns, you get +1 strength and toughness for all units. Turns 3 and 4, you go back to your basics. Turns 5 and 6, you -1 strength and toughness. Turn 7, which doesn't actually happen that often, but when it does, it's your -2 strength and toughness. So that is brutal.
And this is so themey though.
It shows that the warp is ebbing.
Yeah, I love the mechanic because again, it's saying like they've been summoned for the war. Something's happened that's given them strength, and they've managed to come into reality in real space, and then it just slowly goes away.
Yes,
and it ebbs away. And again, I think there's some. I mean, I've not really looked at the Sire Arcana too much. I probably should as a demon player to know what could come out.
Well, I was speaking to May before this, and he mentioned that because obviously some of the Sire Arcana really affects demons.
Yeah, and I'd love to see some more stuff come out. Like nullifies that, or you can stop the reserve range.
Pentacles, is it something like that?
Oh, the
Paragon
Blade. Improved.
You got the Divining Blade, which
one,
obviously against demons is even worse, and things like that. I mean, I don't think we're going to have time to cover them today, but it's just
Yeah, and I suppose if we're talking about like the buffs and the minuses as well, is sisters obviously have a profound effect because everything in the army counts as demon.
Yeah,
so they're called demons.
I think it's
in the Ruinstorm,
-2 leadership against demons.
But there's strength and toughness stuff as well. So again, when I played Medas, it really hit me after.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first buff turn was supposed to be really good, and I really need that against the Custodians because they're like
and then suddenly you
but actually I haven't got that anymore because he's got blobs of sisters everywhere.
Yeah.
And then actually when you start to get your -1, it's then -2, and you think your normal demons then are toughness 2 against a strength 5 base army.
So even the sisters, especially if you take something like the sword unit, they're just going to mince. They're all AP3 anyway, but strength 4 is just going to wreck you.
So it's worth saying, and I think again with this, I mentioned using these as allies, but I've got a bit of a belief that these guys in the Talons were actually designed to be allies
as opposed to full armies.
Yeah, to kind of fight.
We've had this conversation before.
Yeah, I agree.
When we were playing King Fluff, there's the last game we had at the thing. It was like sort of saying he had his Talons, and they weren't really nice in army. Like say he had Mechanicum and Talons together, and it's like kind of feels that way. I mean,
was it all Custo? I don't think he ran any sisters, did he?
I didn't have any sisters, which I think would have helped him a bit better. But I've got a Talons army. I got bored of it.
I've got a Talons army.
I've played it.
I'm not quite bored of them yet.
I had.
Of course, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that was when I brought Nightballs back. And winless was definitely that weekend was winless.
I think everything went my way.
But I think
he did kill Janet.
Yeah, he did kill Janet. I think there's something where they're really cool to then have against each other. So it's like, well, I'm bringing my demons. Well, I'm going to actually bring some sisters then, and let's like have some stuff because they've got side grenades.
But it's
so it's perils. So if you think about taking D3 wounds on your monsters from throwing a side grenade,
well, you could take that grenade launcher squad, can't you? And then you're just chucking perils into everything.
There's no factors and stuff like that.
Yeah. So. It's very specific though. So at an event where you don't change your list or anything. Now you've got demons that are quite popular, obviously, from the conversion and the painting aspect. It's different to painting your power armour. You've got to take these things into account. So it's a case of, well, shall I take some Sire Arcana stuff? Shall I take some Talons? Shall I take some sisters? Because, like you said, not everybody takes sisters. They just want the big beefy.
And they're great as a little allied detachment to a.
They're really
a loyalist army.
Because especially like we said, if you had a militia force with some kind of crazy psycho that's turning everyone like loco, and then actually so my Marines, we know that's happened on this planet. Let's call some sisters to help us out.
Well, I've done it with my Solar Ox. So I've used my sisters that I use for my Talons. I haven't got a big force, although I am expanding it because on your doubles event, I'm bringing basically 3 Inquisitors, 3 unit sisters, Janet, and a Centura. And but it's a shame. It's kind of part of me thought it was. I know we're going off on a tangent here, but part of me was gutted that a sisters list on its own, a frontline game at an event, doesn't really work because they can't repen armor, they can't do this and that.
You haven't got many unit options.
But then that's not what they're all about, and I think it was going back to what you were saying earlier. As an allied detachment, or backing up the custodes, it works. It's perfect.
Yeah, they bring the aspect that custodes don't have.
Yeah,
an army doesn't have.
And having played the army, going against toughness 3 up saves, everyone loves it. Oh, my army's geared AP3 anyway for Marines, and I'm now shredding you.
I love my
They
sisters.
definitely love fighting the sisters.
I love it. I want to expand them big time. They're great. Anyway, we've gone off on one. So, so yeah, I think Tide of Madness. So yeah, obviously stronger at the start, and they gradually get weaker. I love that. I think it's very themey. It's very much what you see. I don't know whether in Feared Tread when the Blood Angels are fighting, whether that came into effect, where they were slightly getting lesser. But I imagine maybe they got some ideas from that. I'm trying to remember. I listened to it through Audible. I've read or listened to every Heresy book now, but because I'm sad.
You're ahead of me,
I read 30 of them before I even realised Audible existed. So.
Well, just saying the it's only because it's in the car on the way over here. But listening to that section of the Primarchs, and actually it's talking about slowly, the flesh hands are actually just coming into existence, but it's taken them a while. But they can kind of see these things coming.
Yeah.
So they're coming out of nowhere really, and then they're really strong and I don't know. But...
no, I was about to talk about something in the Siege of Terror series.
No spoilers,
I'm not going to spoil it.
I'm
going to spoil it for people because there is something that fits this really well that is in there. I'm not going to mention the Primarch's name but he is badass and I love him. So we've got to that point. Before we move on to Emanations and other parts, we're just going to take a short break and we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back. We're now going to move on to Emanations of Horror, which is really interesting to me. So what's this about, guys?
It's pretty much the bread and butter of the demon of building your army.
Yeah. It's opening up the sandbox. Yeah. Let's call it like that way.
It's how you customise everything, every unit that you've got with a bit of shooting, one of them's called sorcery, hence why that, psychic levels, armour, etc.
I think for me, this army, if you go back, I think most Heresy players have probably been around a little while. It's the old Tyrannid Codex. If you remember
okay.
When it first came out.
Yeah.
See, I compared it to the best Chaos Space Marine Codex.
That one as well.
3.5? Yeah.
So, if you're like me, that's probably when you played when you're like a...
Dude,
when you were younger.
I'm back road trading. I was like...
and this is what makes it, like I just said sandbox, but we talked about models and whatever you want. This is a list of stuff to give you rules for your cool ideas. It's the way I see it.
Yeah.
This is where it can also be horrendously broken, and break glass with caution.
So would you quickly, when you build in your army, would you look at this first and maybe build models around it, or would you take the models and maybe tailor them from the rules that are available?
I'm always a bit of rule of cool. So if you think I want to make this model super fast.
Yes.
There's something that gives you jump pack, so you can kind of probably get away with that. Because you don't deep strike in any way in a traditional sense, so that's you skirting over stuff, leaping, over a Terminator, that kind of thing. So there's something there for everyone, or it's full blown wings, or it's your own imagination. And actually, this is where they said, the Imperium doesn't know what things are, or what it does, and that's the kind of idea that you have to be quite clear, and it can take a little while when you're setting up the army. But I find it easy just to tell people as they come out the portal, because then you'll forget. I've got a list. I've got I photocopied this page, and if an opponent wants it for the game, that's cool. I in my own army, everything is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So I've used claws as one thing. I've used wings. I've
Yeah.
used different things.
So you
to
try and get as near to almost like WYSIWYG as
Yeah.
sort of within reason, because obviously
Obviously-
these are demons. They're gonna look really funky.
Yeah.
You know.
And they've got what you were saying about the bracket system is there's for the majority of it the options are open to every unit. There are a few exceptions, of course, but they've got a 3-tier system. So you bracket 1 is the cheapest cost, and that's for your lesser demons, your beasts, cavalry, swarms, etc.
Yeah.
And you've got your bracket 2 for your greater demons, and your characters, your demon lords, and then you've got your bracket 3, which are your greater Ruinstorm beasts and your behemoths.
And then the Lord of War choice has its own, because it's so crazy.
Oh right.
So we'll talk about that
when we get to it. Yeah.
It is brutal.
I didn't realise that. Yeah, great. They should. You know, they're a different level.
You know? I mean, there's one guy on the group. I can't remember his name, but he's like being 3D printing something as big as a Titan for it.
Oh Jesus!
You probably see it on Instagram or the thing. I think it might be Alfarius. I think he calls himself something, but. Like he's been 3D printing it coming out the sea.
Jesus, that sounds awesome.
You know, proper Godzilla type thing, which is really cool. And I know like Wheeler used Archeon's big.
So they
Ridley.
go back to the base sizes. There was no idea
base.
on the base size.
It's whatever.
You can go for broke.
And you look at the stats, and they're up there. I mean, they're gargantuan monster creatures, so you could use the big. Bio-Titans, you could use whatever you wanted.
Of course,
I think they've opened... Games Workshop obviously didn't mean to, but they've opened the third-party world up completely with this. You've seen all those massive demons and with tits everywhere, and all the ones with massive axes. They're everything.
Yeah.
They knew.
That's what they knew what they're doing. They knew what they're doing. They wanted to, but
they don't run enough heresy events to care about.
Well, I think they've relaxed a bit on you using some third-party bits to enhance your
but
your
if
GW model.
If you've got a foot-tall demon,
they're going to be like,
"Nah,
you're right."
Maybe you could use Felix when he gets just stable.
I'll use my child.
Oh look, he's grown.
Dad, I'm 18 years old. I don't want to be stood on your gaming table.
Stand still. It's important. Get on your base.
But going back to the emanations, they're... Like we said, they're so customisable. There are a few that are limited to...
Did you want to run through each of them, just take in turns of something and just run through so people know? Because obviously a lot of them have got flavours you might recognise.
But I think for me, I've got a bit of a thing about this first one. It's only available to your HQ choices, really. So
it's the second bracket.
The second bracket is 25 points, and that's just a level. Mastery level of psychic
is this
power.
the one?
This is contentious.
This is
no
contentious
limit.
Yeah, the way it's been written is there's no limit.
So people have been suggesting they could be mastery level 50
and have every psychic power and have 50 dice. And
I think at your greetings event, because I helped out a little bit with the pack, and I think I limited it to 5 or 6.
Maybe
was it 6? I think.
It
might have been 5 actually.
I personally think with it, we were saying earlier, you can miscast and really you can kill yourself. I think if you've got 50 levels of psychic power, you're going to kill yourself with miscasts. It's just going to happen.
Oh yeah, you get so many dice on that.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
So I think, and also in this one as well, it says about you can't use demonology or like the good or the bad, and there's actually a new table in the back of this book about summoning demons. So obviously not to go on too much of a tangent, but there's the new character that can use demonology, and that's another way to get demons into your armies.
Yes.
But these guys can't use it, so they can't buff themselves with all the demonology.
Oh,
so
they're
very consciously taken that out. But they also say, a bit like the Sekhmet, choose your powers.
Oh, no! You can pick.
I roll it. So I use Biomancy. All
and have they got the whole range of
everything else?
All the psychic parts.
So if you took, maybe 5 levels, you could have Iron Arm, you could have or basically you can buff yourself. You can be a mini Magnus, really.
I think when I thought about it and I spoke to a couple of people, I think 5 because Magnus is 5, isn't he?
Yeah.
So to be around that, anything further than that, I think you're starting to take the piss a bit.
And it's to do Zinch lists, isn't it? It's to do that. And Yeah.
But
So
points
I think
wise, it soon adds up.
It does,
of course,
yeah.
yeah.
But
you know, you can run. I run 20 lesser demons. If you put a couple of upgrades, you're looking at 400, 500 points squads type thing. You suddenly go, that's a lot of points.
They're awesome, but it's a big chunk of your
Oh
army.
yeah.
So yeah, I think for me, I think I run it as in I'll roll for my psychic powers and I'll take a pick.
Yeah.
It's just the don't be a dick thing.
I only run 1 or 2, maybe 3 levels because it gets quite expensive on top of.
Oh yeah.
When you're looking at the points, actually they start off quite high for the guys that can take it.
Yes.
You can spam your little hero level characters with them, and again that's as easy each little flame dudes and stuff like that. So I can see the place for it, but I think there's definitely
it's a good way of building some flavour, but you don't want to abuse it.
No. And again, like we said, you could run like Khorne and shoot psychic powers. It's not like Khorne hates psycho.
Well,
it just doesn't exist.
Well, there's no Khorne in this. There's
no official Khorne. But there's things there. So that was the first one for me.
Okay.
Second one, you've got demonic wings. So you change from infantry to jump pack infantry or jump pack monstrous creature.
And this one's open to brackets 1 and 2.
Yeah,
so not third one.
Can't be taken by your greater demon beasts or your demon behemoth.
Yeah, so you don't want them flying around the table.
No. And again, you think about the way the army plays is you come out on first turn and it's like that drop on army. You have to kind of sit and weather.
Yes.
And also this army wants to then stay within 6, and it's the model within 6 gets the reroll for the 5.
Yeah, it's not units, so you can't toe drag.
Yeah, so you can't have that lovely shoestring and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, with wings, it's quite cool to play because you can go behind your portal and then you jump over and then you can start attacking in your next turn you've come out. So it's quite a good
the portal, can you gain sort of a cover from it? Can you gain
it's a 5+ cover save.
Okay,
you have a 5+ demon save.
You just get
anyway.
better
So
but you are also, it is impassable terrain, so I've done it once or twice where I've actually blocked my bigger beasts coming through.
Alright.
So I've had to set them up one way and then went, actually, to get past that, I've got to go all the way around this building.
Yeah, we did it to each other quite a bit on the doubles.
Yeah.
I find doubles weird because you kind of have to talk about your plans openly. Whereas when I play, it's on the head.
Otherwise, you're going to block each other.
Yeah.
And with base size now, even the 32mm bases, 6 inches soon fills up.
130mm demon rolls not getting anywhere. Trust me. And like I said, these things we're saying they're wings, but it does quite happily say in here it's to represent how you want them to be. So I've got if I was running my beasts and I wanted the chosen HQ in them to keep up, I could give them wings, but I could maybe run like Karlach. On a base. That's the annoying thing again. The chosen's on a small base supposedly. He's like 32. And most of the cool looking demons are on 40s or 50s. So but you just take the hit. I don't.
It's
the differences there. So
again, don't abuse it, but you can. I think you should be able to mould it to what's fluffy. I mean, like I said, I run my Slanesh demons, which don't necessarily have wings as modelled as.
But they look like they're built for speed.
Yeah, so you could. So personally, I'd be happy with somebody going right. Hasn't got wings, but I bought it demonic wings to give it that increased speed. Like fine, fine.
I'm just saying in your so we're at Meaker's house and he's got the new.
I was going to say
the new Slanesh Demon Prince is behind you in the cabinet there. And he's got that little acrobatic demonette on the top. You can quite happily see that Pogo sticking over, sticking it in behind.
This is nice. I forgot to say. Yeah, we're set up in Meaker's hobby room, so thank you very much, Meaker. And it's nice because obviously when we record the Heralds podcast, we're normally. Different cities, so to be sitting in the same room is really awesome. But thanks, Meaker, for that. I thought I should have mentioned at the start, but anyway, moving on.
So we've got a cabinet full of demons that are eyeing Rich up quite
nicely. They're looking at my back, and I don't like demons hiding behind me.
Especially Slaneshi ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some real titties behind me. So.
So the next one is, you will see this absolutely everywhere, is Crushing Claws. It gives you rending. So basically demons, unless you're a monstrous creature, there's no AP. There's no other way to get AP in your army. And like we say with the meta, even militia can get 3 up save if they want it. It's the only way. It's rending. It can be powerful.
It's available to all the brackets, isn't it?
It's to all the brackets, and you think, well, why would I do that if I'm a monstrous creature? But you're rending on top of your strength. It's an AP2 because you're monstrous creatures. Against,
is it Armour Breakthrough with Land Raiders?
Predators and that's Spearhead, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Armour Breakthrough, yeah.
So Armour 14, as we go through the rest of these emanations, you'll notice that there isn't much tank popping.
No.
There's not much range outside of psychic powers. There's a few bits, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
You can't go, right, I'm firing a las cannon and I can pop that tank in one shot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, you could just castle up. You know, you can sit in Spartans, you can sit in Androids, and you could just sit and laugh and shoot las cannons at monstrous creatures all day. You could do that if you wanted to.
But I suppose if you've got a unit of these, and you've got a unit of, say, 20 lesser demons, you got, presumably you got 10. And give us, yes, it's a point hike because it's going to cost a fair amount, 100 points or something?
Yeah, it's 5 points a model.
Yeah. So, but then, especially on the early turns where they've got the strength buff, they can suddenly run up and actually do some damage to some of these vehicles. Because I think they can glance a Land Raider, can't they?
Yeah, strength 5 with the
yeah. So, but it's just sheer weight of attacks into something to try and bring it down.
Next one is Flensing Talons, which is Shred. So, I am guilty of running as a Run My Slash. It seems appropriate that I have Rending, but
quite cheap as well. I mean, the points are quite low.
Yeah.
Considering.
So it's 5 for Rending, and then the Shred is 3 points. So in my 3k list, I do run Lesser Demons with Shred and Rending. It doesn't. I find that only comes into effect more often when you're later in the game, when you're maybe -1 strength and toughness. Then you're strength 3 against Marines, or against some dirty custodes. Yeah. That you can.
It just gives you that extra chance, doesn't it? Yeah.
You can fish for the 6s, which will go through armor.
Yeah, I mean, when I ran my Talons, like Valdor fell to diminishes with Rending. Like, it's just the amount of attacks and stuff, and I think it's just that reroll really hits hard. Yeah. So I don't run that on purpose.
Somebody else's Valdor.
That was pretty much how he killed my Valdor. So.
I think actually, as that kind of player, I like putting it on my monstrous creatures because I am the guy that will roll 5 1s. So having a reroll, there's no rerolls to hit really unless you get some psychic off. Yeah. So I just like having rerolls. It makes me feel better because I'll roll that dice roll and probably roll the same 5 1s again. But I just like the chance. And actually, I think on your monstrous creatures and you thinking, right, this is my chance to get some damage out. Fluffed it completely. Yeah. Even then, you know, every time I played, there's been times where I've just gone, that's just kind of tickled it.
It's just not happened.
Your event actually, we had a fun time with. Was it the Mortar? Was it called the Mortar Fighter? Was it? You trying to kill him for?
The Mortar Fighter with the Dreadnoughts
posse. Yeah. Well, that was funny
trying to get through him.
We got stitched up on that as well by you guys because I think Meaker got told to kill him.
I was told to kill a character. It wasn't actually him.
Okay, yeah. If you, I'm going to refer back to
last episode.
16, 17. I should know. I edit them.
Just say it clearly.
Yeah, it's our event one. It's called something's Curry House. I should know. But yeah, we gave out these like little secret mission things to earn some campaign points.
And Carol's Curry House of Heresy.
Yeah, which episode is that?
Episode 17.
17, right? Okay.
Say it again.
Yeah. Okay. No, leave it. Just keep going. It's funny. So if you go back to episode 17, we talk about at the event these different special like secret objective missions and cards. They're either going to give you a buff or they ask you to do something. And this was one of them. I think it was Brother Y.
No,
is it? No, where you kill your mate?
No, basically what it was is...
Or was it the Glorious Intervention one?
Well, I had Glorious Intervention... So, Meaker got given Kill a Character.
Priority Target.
Yeah, and I then got given Glorious Intervention, which is basically do a Glorious Intervention and kill a character.
Which everyone forgets that everyone could do.
It was cool, but basically the first turn my Rune Lord got shot off the table, so I literally only had one character model left, so I was like, thanks Matt for that. And then I didn't know, obviously we had to keep it secret from each other. And Beeker had been trying to kill this Mortificer for like turn after turn, just bounces cataphracti saves. So I thought, right, well actually this will be quite a cool story because then my Greater Demon will go in, he'll take the challenge over, kill the model, get 10 campaign points.
Oh, it
but
won
actually
you,
snatched it away. And
it won you the Saga of Legend award, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broke my little story down. And,
we were like, no way, because it was literally like 2 cards playing at once, and then he just swooped in and stole the priority. It was unbelievable.
So it made a good story, and actually, if you think about how that game was going,
you should have both won the award for that.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I wrote it.
I stole one off Duncan at an Incom one.
Just
for popularity, so that was fun. So I'm probably owed a steal of a Saga of Legends.
Right,
yeah,
anyway,
that made it quite good. But where were we anyway?
Let's get back to Emanations of Horror. Sorry, we will go off on tangents. I'm not really going to apologise for it because it's fun. So,
so Sundering Fangs, I use this in one of my units. So I use Flesh Hounds. I give them collars of corn, which we'll talk about. Not collars of corn, brass collars. You know, it's so easy to call it what they're calling in other editions. But I basically give them Sundering Fangs because they've got big old mouths. They look quite cool as a unit. So Sundering Fangs basically means you may choose to make a single attack, initiative step 1, instead of any other attacks they'd have. But this is at twice their strength, and it gets Sunder. So if you're thinking, I'm running them on Beast, they're base 5. So I'm always going to be
Strength
10. Okay, I might go down to Strength 8, but after turn 4.
Yeah.
So, but then you've got Sunder as well. So
obviously, I think the APs are quite low on most of the.
Well, this hasn't got AP at all.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you're going to glance stuff. I've got a unit of like 5 dogs, and they'll go in and they'll hit a tank and they'll kind of maul it.
Yeah.
If I'm lucky, I take it out.
Yeah.
Because you've only got 5 attacks, you need to sit out. And if we'll talk about it later, but beasts have 2 attacks base. If they're running rage, you lose out quite a lot of attacks. So do I go with a load of strength 6 in my first couple of turn, or do I go with 5 strength 5?
You're only really going to use it against things like Land Raiders, anything like that.
And
because
like
other vehicles, you're just going to run into the back.
Yeah, and again, it's Dreadnoughts are the hard one. So Contemptors, it's like, what do I do? So actually, would I be better off with them having Rending? Probably.
Yeah, probably. With the amount of attacks.
I'm not going initiative 1.
Yeah.
Whereas this is against tanks and stuff, it doesn't really matter. You can maul up, like we said, if that Spartan or that Land Raider in close combat.
You can get those glances or a few pens through.
Yeah, you're not going to pop.
And with the Sunder to get the reroll, it's really handy.
And again, I put them on Beasts, and they have the Beast rule from the rulebook. So they go 12, they ignore cover, so you can get them where you want them usually pretty quickly. So I think that's quite a nice fluffy bite of a maul of a dog.
It makes sense, Sundering Fangs and the way it works.
And
definitely.
I mean, I don't see why you'd put it on a monstrous creature, if I'm honest, because they can do a smash.
Yeah.
So they've got the points there for them, but I use better things to spend.
Smash is AP2 as well, isn't it?
Yeah. For monstrous
So
creature. Well, I think this would be because it'd just be. I think all the attacks are AP2 from.
You do get reroll on pen for the smash tag, so I don't see
it's the points are there, but I think it's just for completeness. I think if you've got something with a massive mouth on
it,
you want to just give it a bang.
No, I like it. That's cool, isn't it?
Next one, Miasma of Rot, which is definitely not Nurgle.
No Nurgle here. This is a really good one, though.
Yeah. You are, whilst in combat and you're locked with the unit, your toughness is reduced by 1. But also, if it has an armor value instead of toughness, all its armor value facings are reduced by 1.
Oh,
which is huge.
Can you combine that with the Rending attacks and things like that?
If you have enough slots to do it, but it doesn't reduce your instant death threshold. No. That's worth saying as well.
Yeah. And it's not cumulative. It only happens no matter how many units are in.
Yes, it's not like the kind of whole rad argument. You have so many sources of it and stuff. But this it's worth saying. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But you can only take that if you take the right Dominion.
Oh, okay.
So Dominions are like we're saying, they're not God things. Yeah. There's one that's generic, and there's one that's not Nurgle.
Yeah.
This is where we'll get to it in a minute, and then we'll cover that. Yeah.
It's this. So it's Miasma of Rot, and the next 3 are the not God specific ones.
Honest.
Answers on a postcard to what you think they are. So my next one, I said it earlier actually, but it's brass collars.
Yes.
So it's 5 points, and it gives the whole unit Adamantium Will.
So this is because the bracket system, it's got
Yeah.
all 3 brackets. So for lesser demons it's 5, and then obviously as it goes up the brackets it's 10 and then 15.
Yeah, so it gives you Adamantium Will.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a buff to doing your stuff.
Pops up every now and again.
But the reason why you buy it is it gives you an armor save of 3+. So most things have a 4-up base. This makes you 3-up. Like we said earlier, like is the 5-up rerollable better? But actually, on things that are going outside of that bubble, it's giving you
a 3-up save is better than that, as long as against anything that's not AP.
Yeah. And just I suppose if we cover it at the same time, there's Warp Scaled Hide. Which gives the unit a 3-up armor save, so that's for anyone.
A unit with the emanation increases its armor save.
Yeah, so but you always have to buy per model. So these are always so if you have a unit of 10, you have to give it to all the 10 guys. It's like buying melt bombs, frag grenades, that kind of thing. You have to buy it on everyone, and there's no champion just to give their own thing.
Right.
And actually, I think it ends up being a little bit cheaper on the bigger dudes. And you obviously get the Adamantium Will, so
brass,
probably not going to use
brass
it.
Collars better value, I think.
It's a little bit better value, but again, you can only take it if you take the not Khorne Dominion or the generic one.
Yeah,
so you can't have the Miasma of Rot and the brass collars if you don't, unless you take one specific.
But it's good there's not one single way of getting a 3+. They've opened up another option.
As we said, we'll go through the Dominions after we finish these, and it will make things a lot clearer.
Yeah.
The next one is Stupefying Musk, which is the Slaanesh, not Slaanesh one.
We know a few people at events with Stupefying Musk, floating around the room. Not mention any names, but
it's any unit charged by or looked to combat with a unit with this emanation must take a morale check beginning of the fight subphase. If the check's failed, then they must reduce its initiative by 1 for the duration of that subphase. It's not bad, especially as we're all reasonably. Well, I think
initiative 4 across the board, apart from a couple of the HQs, isn't it? So
it's a fairly cheap one as well, because it's all 3 brackets, but it's 3, 10, 10.
Yeah.
So actually, it's not.
It's to make you feel like a Slaanesh army. So it's not buffing you; it's taking away from the opponent. Possibly. And again, but it's the leadership test again. Yeah. So and actually, when we talk about Dominion, though, it makes sense why it's there. Yeah. But it's again we've had. With the same with the fear, it's linked to leadership, and there's a lot of high leadership. There's a lot of rerolls.
There's lots of ways of getting around it.
There's lots of things there, so it's a good one, but it's to give that feel. And then we've got Warp Scions. You can only take this on your little dudes. So your brutes, lesser demons, beasts, swarms.
So it's in
cavalry.
that first bracket. Yeah.
So you can't take on the bigger guys. It's really to stop you kind of behemoths and stuff having it, but it gives you mastery level 1. But the interesting thing
Brotherhood of Psychers,
it's Brotherhood of Psychers level 1. But I know I spoke earlier about sorcery, and it says you can't pick your psychic. I'm going to roll for it. This actually just gives you a list of some of the Primaris Paras. So it gives you Smite, Flame Breath, Assail or Psychic Shriek.
That's pretty good.
And you must choose it like a psychic power, and it stays with you for the whole game, like a bit like a veteran tactic.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is this is linked to the not Zinch. So
obviously
it's to have your little units of flamers, horrors. It's to give that little psychic power.
Yeah.
Boost.
Yeah.
Boost. And it's in a way a bit of shooting actually.
Yeah.
It's psychic shooting, so they're all of those are different missiles basically.
Yeah, and if you've got multiple lesser demon units, it's 3 points. So per model, so it can add up. If you've got multiple smaller units,
so you get
then
dice
you're going to get a lot of attacks in the cycle.
And all of these are all like warp charge 1. So you can just throw a dice and see.
There's no real big.
I mean, that's going back on myself a little bit. Maybe if you were running that Zinch list, that may be where you'd put some more Masters of Sorcery on your Greater Demon to give you a bank of dice to use for your lesser demons.
Oh yes,
so like a big battery basically.
Oh yeah, true, yeah.
So that'd probably be the only way I'd probably feel comfortable doing that, and fluffy. Because that's what it's going to be.
But you're spreading it across your army rather than just pimping out one guy. So yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you're still end up pimping out one guy.
Oh yeah.
When you get the options to.
Yeah.
Right.
So the next one is one that I use quite often on strikes. Well, whilst they're zooming about. It's Corrosive Vomit. It's a template. Strength user, AP 5, Assault 1, Soul Blaze. Nobody ever remembers Soul Blaze, so why they put it in, never idea. But
yeah, Soul Blaze is like
just doesn't
used to be a thing, but not really.
But the I use it on my strikes. There's Strength 7 base, so first turn there's Strength 8. If you're going over things, rhinos and that with a Strength 8 flamer, that's gonna knock a
sting
couple
a bit.
Yeah. Dan Collister really hated it when we played Castle Banana because he sits behind a defence.
Oh, so he just flew over his Castle Banana and
he wasn't happy
set a blaze to everything.
And obviously it's Strength 8, so no apothecaries.
Of course, it doubles you out. Yeah. Unless it's playing Stone Gauntlet.
So I think it was, I don't know what he said to me, but I said, "Oh yeah, you guys play it fair apart from those bloody strikes."
Yeah, he doesn't play Stone Gauntlet, does he? He goes for a lot of
lots of
Bolt of Fire and things like that.
Bolt of Fire,
whereas I play a lot of Stone Gauntlet, so toughest 5. Yeah, come on.
He's got friggin' what is it, 60 heavy bolter shots.
He goes because bolters kill Primarchs.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
And then heavy bolters kill demons. Just
yeah, exactly.
Very
so
quickly.
if you're popping out all those shots and you're hitting on 2s, it's going to be horrid. Yeah, so that's available in all 3 brackets. So it's 3 points, 10 points, 15 points.
But you can only have for every 3 models in the unit.
Oh, so it's not everyone, but then you're still.
So they're
you're hitting everything though, aren't you, as you go under?
Yeah, I mean they're kind of defending it because obviously Tom was using it on flying monstrous creatures, so they kind of come out.
Sorry, template is the flamer
template.
Yeah.
So he flies out and flames stuff, a bit like the Helldrake in.
Old
school.
In the old school times. But you can have it on a whole unit of lessers, spurting stuff out. So it could be like vomiting plague bearers, or but they're only going to be kind of strength 4, strength 5. So when you get your big monsters, when it's quite tough, like greater beasts, you can take them in a unit of 3. So only one of these will be able to fire. Obviously, if you're unit of 1, you just shoot 1. Yeah. So they kind of managed to put the mechanics in here with the shooting to make them not too hard, really. And I suppose moving on, I think this was the most popular one I've seen in this actually. Was the Rift Barb. So basically this is a shooting weapon. Only a single model in the unit can use it. And remember, even if you got a unit of 10 lesser demons and you give them this, everyone has to have it. Yeah. So you're paying like your las cannon tax sort of thing for it. It's a shooting weapon, range 12, user +2, AP 3, assault 1, armor bane. So actually,
it's all right. The AP lets it down a little bit.
If it was AP 2, it'd be brilliant.
But there's not crazy points.
No, because your monster. I think mostly. So if you talk about Shrike, I've seen them on Shrikes all the time. Yeah. Because they're going to fly around. They're going to get rear armor. They're going to be they're 7 base. So
strength 8 first 2 turns.
So they're strength 10 in the first 2 turns, shooting with armor bane. But like you say, it's going to glance stuff. It's not going to pop that Land Raider from afar.
It might take a weapon off. It could immobilise. But at the end of the day, if you're firing at a tank, you want to pop it. You don't want to be sitting there going.
But then you do have some tanks, especially ones that don't have machine spirit. Even if you just shut it down for a turn, make it snap shoot.
Yeah.
So they can't use their ordnance weapons. They can't.
The amount of times really I've fired at things like that and it's gone. Oh yeah, you've got an immobilised on a tank that was sitting still.
Yeah, I mean for the.
That's Scorpius. Damn it.
For the same points, Corrosive Vomit's the same points, 3, 10, 15. I saw Tom having loads more fun with the Flamer template at strength 8 than you probably would have done with one shot strength 10. So again, it depends. It's horses for courses. It's what you're doing. You might want to run. I've never seen anyone do like Tyranids as demons, but there's loads of Tyranid models with big Barbie things.
But
I think people have mentioned it, but it's whether they look too
Tyranidy.
They'd have to do a lot of converting. I think. I'd be interested in seeing it.
I'd like to see someone do like the monsters on Murder. And do a bit of a mix.
Mega arachnids.
And then kind of a bit of nids, bit of spidery, and then use his rules of work really nice.
I think it'll work.
Possession type thing.
Because they kind of come out of nowhere, don't they? They kind of fly off with
they're horrible.
And that's like it's like one of the first 3 books, that isn't it? So we're not spoiling for anyone, hopefully.
Everyone. If you haven't read it, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. Especially when Torgadon slaps down his Empress Children dickhead. Yeah. Oh, what's that guy's name? The character has his egg chopped off. Eidolon. Yeah. He just comes on and bitches at him. It's so good. Anyway, yeah.
And the next one is Molten Blood, which is whenever a model with this special rule set suffers an unsaved wound, enemy units locked in combat will with it suffer a single strength user AP-hit.
That's not bad.
It's decent. It's a shame it hasn't got some AP, but
if it so basically
because it's
so every
it's saying
time
it's molten.
so if you're being attacked, you take a wound. It's basically deflecting some of the damage onto you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I
not the blood
quite like
spilling
that.
out. I keep on going back to it, but it's that acidic blood, isn't it? It's like it's that a mechanic. I've put it on my Behemoth because I think it's quite cool.
It's like attacking the alien, isn't it?
It's like a whole strength thing. But actually thinking about it, if you had your kind of little squads of 20 lesser demons and you're taking a lot of hits back, you then get an extra attack. So if you're going off this whole, I mean, they're not going to be rending, are they? All
and this game is all about making people roll dice.
Yeah.
So you roll enough dice, you're going to roll ones. You know. It happens.
Unless I'm fighting against custodes with Night Lords, then they never roll one.
So yeah, it's a nice little trick. I think it's that kind of fluff thing. I've seen people do like the new Fire Slayers, like Magma Dragons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to show, because I think even Warhammer Painting did like Flesh Hounds and lava.
Yeah.
Yes. So it'll make sense from that. Points
really
wise,
cool.
it's not too bad as well. Because
Yeah.
it's a 3-5-5. So
Yeah, it's a nice little cheeky upgrade. It's not the cost
Yeah.
of the earth.
if you've got points spare, you can sort of just chuck it into.
Yeah, on your big demons, it's a no-brainer really, because they're going to take some wounds. They're going to have enough to still be in combat, and then another strength. 7,
and it's
8,
just
9.
strength users, so you're going to be nailing these wounds onto people as you take them. Yeah.
Cool. This one, Horn Crown. I quite like this one. It has its own kind of place, I think. So it gives the unit Hammer of Wrath, but if it already has it, then it gets D3, just one roll for the whole army.
Oh wow!
Whole unit.
Whole unit,
The whole army, a bit weird. So for things like your big monstrous creatures, it's giving you those D3. So like we said, it's making people roll dice at the strength.
Yes.
So I'll have it.
Initiative 10.
Yeah, initiative 10. So it's fantastic.
But the amount of times my Telemann, which gets D6 Hammer of Wrath, has just walked through contemptors and stuff.
Yeah, I had a Talon. They did that to a Spartan. They asked for a Spartan and killed it. But for me, there's a real special place for this. That there's demonic cavalry in the list, and when you look at the list, we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
They're not quite as good as beasts.
Right.
But they already have Hammer of Wrath as cavalry. So if you give them
the extra hits on the way in,
I think then they're fast enough to get in a position where loads of models can get in base to take advantage, and then you're getting D3 hits. So
and then the average strength is what, 5?
For cavalry,
for early on, about 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's 4 base.
So you got a really good chance of wounding like your average marine or something. You're just going to go for
it. So it's that weight of dice.
Yeah, you can take a few out on the way in.
Yeah, and I played Harriet Gino. I think he had some like scout sentinels.
Right, yes.
Coming out and stuff, and I just ended up running them down with those guys because you get the Hammer of Wraths and you get then the attacks, and it just kind of the weight of dice on sentinels kind of got through the armor.
Yeah.
So it's a nice trick to make them, and of course then when you've got your big stompy monster, you can make them more stompy, which is what you want.
Yes,
so, my guy's got these massive horns on my Behemoth.
And it's not bad because it's free, 10 and 15 points, and it's available to all really.
And it's extra attacks, which, like we said, is what you kind of want to aim for in the army.
Awesome.
Ignoring the skipping over the warp scale high.
Yeah, because we covered that earlier. So
next one is Quicksilver Speed, which gives you fleet and move through cover special rules, which isn't bad. Obviously, fleet helps with your
fleet's
charge.
pretty handy. Move through cover's handy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have monstrous creatures that have move through cover as part of the rule.
Yes.
But fleet
is
again, like we said, rerolls are lovely.
Fleet is so handy, especially in an army that's melee based primarily, to get that extra bit of support.
Yeah, and if you don't feel comfortable saying, my guys, I want them to be speedy and I don't want to use the wings, then it's your other option for these speedy guys.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to make them look fast or in a different way, you might just kind of say, well, actually that's my juggernauts and they're smashing through all the terrain.
Yeah.
And nothing's stopping them.
Yeah.
It's that kind of approach. So you can, when I'm looking at these rules, you can see how they can all connect. But actually, how do you make the models? How do you make the theme of the army? What do you want your army to do?
Because you'd have to Well, the speedy theme, wasn't it? And in the fleet. Yeah,
or
I
just
like
crushing wall of juggernauts or whatever it would be. So I think.
And again,
it's spend a lot of time.
3 points, 10 points, 15 points. So you got that early 3 point that isn't too bad. I mean, they add up after a while when you add certain things on, though. But yeah.
But some units are minimum 3.
Yeah.
And some go up to 20. So it depends what.
Yeah,
what
of course,
you
it all depends on the units.
But you can have flavour. Right.
Yeah, and we've got Flaming Ichor. So for every 5 models in the unit or fraction thereof, 1 model may attack during the shooting phase. But you can use any model in the unit as counting as using it. So you don't have to say this guy has it, like a melter gun. It's only 1 model can use it that turn.
Oh, okay.
That's why you pay.
A bit like a grenade. When you throw a grenade.
Yeah, exactly like throwing a crack grenade. So it's 12 inches, it's Assault 1, Blast 3 inches, Soul Blaze and Crawling Fire.
AP5.
AP5. So again, it's okay. I think the most you're going to throw out of a unit is 4 if you have a unit of 20, so you're not really going to do a lot. But I think this again is showing that it's that Zeech feel, isn't it? It's throwing those little, it's vomiting on people in a different way.
And it's assault, so it's nice to chuck in on your way in.
Crawling Fire is the thing that I think Phosphex has it. So you move it 2 inches.
You move it 2 inches to cover more, yeah.
So it's that real targeted kind of flaming. So again, Soul Blaze. I think I always forget Soul Blaze, but we should probably use it more. It's more hits, isn't it? Just remember it.
What does Soul Blaze do?
I think it's like extra hits, isn't it?
4. I think.
Doesn't it hang about for a turn? You have to roll the dice.
On fire. If you roll a 4+, it take D3 hits.
It's been so long since I've had to think about it, and it's always against me. But yeah,
Alex is looking it up, but we'll go on to the next one, which is Spine Volley. This is one that every model in the unit can fire. It's a 12-inch range, user strength, but it's -1.
Ooh, okay.
AP5, Assault 2. So in a unit of 20, if you're all in range, it's 40 shots.
It's a 12-inch bolt gun. Rapid fire bolt gun, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use it on my greater beasts because they're monstrous creatures, so you can give them this and the one below, and they can put out quite a lot of high strength. So again, it's those demons are good at taking out low armor value
vehicles, your rhinos and predators on the side armor and things.
It's not a bad one, though.
No, it's relatively cheap. 3, 5, 10.
So this is where these last few is where you're building all your kind of shooting attacks. There's not a lot in the army. They're all really short range, but there's some of these. They're all assault as well, so they're all
I think
hit as you run in sort of.
They'd have
shooting
to be.
attacks.
Like we was comparing it to.
It's a very melee based army. You got to say that from the start, Yeah,
and I suppose to go on, the next one is Bone Shard Harpoons. So again, all the models can use those. So again, it's a 12-inch range. This is strength as user, AP4, Assault 1 pinning. So for me, I've put them on my greater beasts, and they're quite high strength anyway.
It'd be good against Solar Ox and some militia armies, and
it's just
some Mechanicum as well, because the Phalanx are only 4.
If you can drop your greater beasts out, shoot a unit with quite a few shots. I run a unit of 3 and like a 3,500. They put in out a reasonable amount of firepower. Okay, it's no AP, but it's high strength, and then there's a chance of pinning. So then they can't come in. You pin, so you can't be charged. Yeah. So it's that really great kind of denial.
It's just making
no one expects it
making them
because
roll
it's just
dice.
coming out of nowhere.
And there's always that time where they fail that leadership test.
Oh, of course.
And then I've just found the Soul Blaze rule. So I suppose because it's in so many these things.
There's a few, isn't there? Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. So if you get an unsaved attack, it can burn. So you're supposed to put a counter on there to remind yourself, because you'll always forget. Trust as you will. So on a 3 or less, it dies out the next turn. On a 4 up, it takes D3 strength for AP5 hits that ignore cover. They're randomly allocated, and you can't have more than 1 Soul Blaze at a time. So, like we say, it's not bad. It's not amazing.
It's an opportunity to again make your opponent roll dice. It's
more and more dice.
It's pretty cool, actually. I like that.
So next one we found out is very important on your big beasties.
Which one's this?
Ephemeral Terror.
Oh, okay.
Models with this emanation do not suffer the penalty to their initiative for charging enemies through difficult terrain, but fight at their normal initiative in ensuing combat.
Frag grenades.
Now this is where this popped up because if you look at dreadnoughts,
they have moved
they
through
don't
cover,
get protection
but
from
they don't.
it. Yeah. So
actually, that's why some vehicles that can carry dreadnoughts have frag assault launches.
yeah.
So if you drop them out of a Anvilus or Carbus, they can. I think
It's an Anvilus got frag.
Yeah, it's got frag assault launches. So that's why it has it for Terminators and dreadnoughts. They give them frag on the charge.
All right. Yeah.
That's what that's all about. But yeah, we had again that fabled Castle Banana
catches you out. Yeah, because obviously if you're charging for an Aegis defense line, you're like,
yeah. So I think I had my Behemoth and my Demon Lord going at it. All of the
Meeker's faces,
all the rapier platform shots, which was just buckets
Overwatch.
of dice, and I've never seen so many sixes to wound in my life. So
it's all those heavy
absolutely
bolters,
killed-
isn't it?
It's all the heavy bolters. The platforms are like 120 points.
I was going to say you got your Demon Lord got into combat with 1 wound left due to the fact it was down to initiative 1, then got killed in combat by a tactical squad.
No, it was the rapier platforms with the crack grenades.
It's the little
Because they hit
dude.
initiative 1 and they just go, no, we've got some bombs here, guys.
Jesus
Let's drop them on.
Christ.
So I don't think I've seen Dan smile, but that's when he smiles. So he was
That's
very happy
normally
about
pretty
that.
cool, isn't
Because
he?
he was,
But-
bullshit demons, and then, oh, actually, okay, yeah. And I think then something happened with, I think it was the Behemoth, then got melter bombed.
Yeah.
So I
right.
took one down with me, but I couldn't. The whole idea, obviously, is they're initiative 2, so you go before melter bombs is the whole idea. Just got wiped out. But then to say that, we kind of went away and went, right, we're going to rewrite our list. So you don't have to drop 2 hit points. It's 1 point
It's
for normal
cheap.
dudes
It's
and
so
5.
cheap. Yeah.
But the end bracket's empty, so that's Greater Beasts and Demonic Behemoths can't
But it is
have
this-
them.
But it is the bulk of the stuff you're going to be chucking in.
Yeah,
So-
but it's your really big beasties can't have
Yeah.
them, and so it's just being a bit more aware. They're initiative 2 for a reason because melter bombs are initiative 1, so it's just being a bit careful with how you charge and what you do things. But yeah, your Demon Lords, put it on. It's 5 points. Like honestly, it is definitely
Right, is this the last one?
Yeah.
Shroud
Yeah.
of Darkness?
I really like this one. So this is basically defensive grenades. A reasonable price, so it's 5 points for normal dudes and then 15 and 20. But I use them because I did my little snaky guys I've talked about.
Yeah.
I just quite like the idea of them being a bit creepy.
Yeah.
And it's like called Shroud of Darkness, so I like the idea
Yeah.
that they kind of jump out the portal and kind of hide in crevices or do weird things.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, oh, okay, can't hit them as fast.
ghouls, like ghoul models.
I think there's a Ferris Manor
really
story,
cool.
isn't there? I think that's in the book I'm reading now, where he's like, there's a snake attacking him in the darkness in an Eldar trap and stuff. So I could really like that idea of like that's how that's seen. You could say it's that there's the Nurgle stink coming out that's distracting you. There's all those cool
Would you
things.
say it's pointed right? It's 5, 15
I think
and
it's
20.
quite strong because you remember when you hop out that portal, you're not charging people.
Yeah. Think
So
if
there
we
you
hopped
go.
out in front of your World Eaters with your rage, if we nullified your rage, that's 2 attacks per model that
Because
we're
you're going to
taking
get
out.
the charge on this.
And it really...
And
I've-
you don't
I've
get
had
your
it, yeah.
furious, you get furious charge, don't you?
No, but we get hate... If you take Berserker, so you get hatred outside your deployment zone.
Yeah.
So when you add hatred on top of that,
Yeah.
you strength 5 because of the chain axes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and they're AP4 as well, so they're going to go through demons. For, but I went to Chris Gibson's one of his Scribes event back end of last year, and on the planets they all had special rules. And the planet I ended up on the first game playing John Booth and his Mechanicum, the guy you played. mate. Basically, every assault was disordered on the planet. So of course my world eaters lose the rage and lose all that lot. And it was just
it's
like,
pretty powerful, but I kind of use them as I run them as beasts because I think that's the best way to show snakes.
yeah.
'Cause they
I
go
quite
fast.
like it. It's a bit
And
sneaky,
actually, so
sneaky.
they can shoot out kind of 12 inches from the portal. They can take a hit because they're toughness 6, strength 6, toughness 6.
Yeah.
Depending what I feel like, it's do you give them rending or do you give them a 3-up armor save? Like,
Yeah.
because they're going to hit outside the portal. It depends who you're playing and what you want to feel. I give them rending because I've given them, they've got the bloodletter sword, so I think that should mean something.
Yeah, I get that.
So that's kind of a tactic. I'm supposed to be doing a tactic over just.
No, it's okay. No, it's good.
but that's the kind of so they're definitely going to get charged.
Yes.
But they're not that expensive a unit.
So if you were taking them to just an event where obviously it's hard to cater for all, but you kind of have that thought in your head.
Yeah.
Would you go for the rending and then a mix of that?
Rending and Shrouded of Darkness.
quite
all
like-
3-up.
when I've run beasts, I normally I just go straight for the Sundering Fangs because you need that anti-tank, and if they can go and start munching your Scorpiuses, your Predators, I mean, I've used them and I've doubled out Thalax.
Yeah.
Just your basic mechanical troop. Toughness 5, alright, I'm strength 10.
Like it's different courses, you know, so the different models. I've got the dogs for the Sundering Fangs, I've got the snake guys, and they're troops, and they're like part of my army. And you know, actually, the thing you don't get charged, or that saves them from getting annihilated by that charge, and you win, or whatever. Then they're beasts, so they can go out and capture objectives and stuff. So I think it's playing brave with those guys kind of pays off and maybe saves some of your more squishy stuff. Yeah. There's not really that much squishy stuff, but in comparison.
Right. Etheric Dominions, have I said that right?
I don't know, I'll be...
it looks like Etheric
I'll be cursed by everyone who's
Dominions.
Who had a good education.
So this is how... this is almost like Rite of Wars.
Yeah,
so like,
that's a fair way to say.
So this is where you can get like an initial flavour, and also I think some of them unlock some of those emanations, and that's why we covered the emanations first. So how many of these are there? Is there 5?
6.
There's 6 because there's 2 generic ones and then 4 not god specific ones.
Okay, well we fly through these then, and then so what's the first one?
The Resplendent Terror is your all-comers. It doesn't really give you much as a bonus, but it's
gives you the flexibility. So you don't have restrictions, but you don't really get buffs. It doesn't have its own warlord trait list, but you can pick any other warlord trait to roll on.
Oh, okay.
So you can kind of go. I think it's your starter. It's your legion list.
Yes. Yeah.
It's where you go. Okay, I'm not quite sure how this army fits into any kind of theme that's here. So my demon lord looks a bit sneaky, so I'm doing this, or it looks a bit psychic-y, so I'm doing that, or it looks like a combat monster, so I can choose those, and then it means you can take any of those emanations that had the little stars that you can only take in the other domain. So that's where it is really sandbox. You can have your -1 toughness and armor value and sulfuric musk, and like you can basically make a Nurgle, Khorne, Slanesh, demon.
Right. Okay.
It's a mixture of all flavours.
Yeah.
It's the melting pot of everything, really.
Which the warlord trait is you can pick from any of the other dominions, which all come with warlord traits, and roll on their tables. And another bit about demons is they don't have to follow the mission set by your dominion mission.
This is
more lies.
Yes, another really interesting thing, and I remember at the Horus Heresy Weekender when they're doing the seminar, and they talked a bit about this, how you wouldn't expect demons to play a mission like a marine or a militia or something like that, where there may be an objective to go grab or something like that. So they've got to have their different ways of winning in their own eyes.
And I think this is quite a point that can, when you're talking the heresy scene, everyone does events.
Yes.
And everyone puts so much effort. I mean, running it, I've got to give Dan credit for most of the Legion of Beeker ones, because he'll sit and write, and also Ben Taylor as well.
Yeah.
They'll write kind of missions and really think about it, and we'll throw ideas in the pot and do some really kooky stuff.
Yeah.
And then someone comes along. So this one is that basically you get a victory point for every unit that's dead. So it's kill points basically.
Yeah.
So you put all that effort in. The guy across the board's screaming to get like this random objective, and you're just like, well, I've just killed you and got some points.
I just do kill points.
So I think most of the events I've found have said take demons, but don't do that.
I think at our event we said play the same mission as everyone else.
But we played like Dominion. That's quite hard.
I think it was part out of maybe we don't understand demons enough, but it was also part that everyone's on a level playing field.
So everyone's playing into the same goal.
Yeah, and I think
especially as you put in the time and effort to do the custom missions.
Yeah, because every table had its own mission.
Yeah, I mean, pick up games if you want to use these as fluff and stuff. It's fine. It's just I'll find most of the games I play, I'll probably just roll a mission and play it. I find capturing like Dominion's really tough because it's like the start of your turn owning an objective.
Yes, yeah.
And if you don't start on the board, then you're on a back foot.
You can be straight away, yeah.
And then, like we said, we've just looked at all the options. There's not a lot of powerful shooting.
Yes.
So how do you then, on your first turn, get someone off that objective? So they've effectively, if they've got some infiltrators
there's a few missions. I think Shatter Strike's one where you get kill points for the first turn of the game.
Well, yeah, you can't.
And
really do that,
you're not going to build up any of them.
Yeah.
But to be fair, depending on who goes first, your opponent might not either. But yeah,
they just look at.
So if they go second, if you're going first, and they're going second, they're just going to mop up some points.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So or potentially.
Yeah, so that's I can see why it's there. I suppose
it's a jack of all trades one, is it? It's like an opening one that gives you freedom.
Yeah, and then there's the one I've been trying out just because I was using the Resplendent Terror just because, if I'm honest, it's just the easy choice. You don't have to worry about anything. Yeah. But I've been trying to do Crimson Fury because I was thinking, well, I'm using the brass collars quite a lot and wasn't really using the other kind of god-specific stuff. But that's basically, as you know, it's Khorne. It's blood for the blood god completely. Yeah. Basically everything with infantry, jump infantry, beasts or cavalry get rage. So that is really tasty, actually. That was so tasty doing that.
Oh, this is the one. Yeah, we'll get to the end bit, but
and then you get, and then basically all your monstrous creatures of all the types get rampage. So if you haven't come across rampage, I know you would have done in Talons.
I have with Rogal Dawn. So.
Yeah, but basically, if you're outnumbered, you get D3 extra attacks.
Yes.
And most of these units that have rampage are single models.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be probably outnumbered. So that's really, really nice, putting all the attacks out. But you do kind of have that frenzy effect, so you have to assault if you're within 12. But we actually talked about that before. We've had our doubles, and if you don't want to assault something, you just run.
Yeah.
So you run an inch.
Okay.
And you don't have to check.
Because it stops you from being able to do the assault.
So it's not that kind of old school frenzy, running after that one unit of, scouts that's not really effective and all that sort of stuff. So you can work around that. But like I said, it unlocks just the brass collars, so that's like a bit of a better way to get a 3-up save and a bit of anti-psychic.
Yes, yeah.
And then they have quite a D6 table, so they don't have a...
so this is for the Warlord trait.
For the Warlord trait, and it's 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, so there's not quite as many traits you can have. But remember, this is probably going on like a Ruinstorm Demon Lord. Like they're a monstrous creature stat and stuff, so they don't need all those extra kind of rules and buffs and stuff.
That's it, yeah.
But basically, you can have basically within 6 Skullkeeper, you get D3 wounds added to the combat resolution.
That's
so
really
it's
good.
really combat, really
that's
pushing
really strong, yeah.
And actually might
it's funny, Dawn gets that as well. If he does it army-wide.
Dawn
it's
weird.
Yeah, no, it's suddenly, what's going on here?
And then we have the one here, which is if there's any psychic powers, you can basically choose to try and deny the witch, although you're higher mastery power.
Okay.
So you can deny it on a
I've never rolled
5+.
Yeah, 5%.
No, you always roll.
Like we say, when you're playing like no one really has librarians and stuff, but that's what they're trying to do in the book 8, weren't they? They put the exorcists in and
I suppose when this is kind of based around Sigma's Prime, is it? Yes. With the Blood Angels and that, so I think they expect some psychic, but not really.
Yeah, and actually I think most of, again, I'm not too far in the heresy, but whenever they come across demon incursions, everyone who was like, no, you're a librarian, you're not allowed to, suddenly, look, there's some crazy voodoo shit, throw some psychic powers at him, please.
Hey mate,
it's alright,
it's all forgiven, come on.
Literally.
Save our ass.
And then the one that I tend to roll all the time, it's really weird.
Path of Blood
is really nice, but Path of Blood. So you roll the dice equal to the number of attacks, and you keep the 2 highest dice for your charge.
Oh,
so you're thinking this model has 5, 6 attacks.
Jesus Christ, that's so good.
It's actually better than Fleet.
Wow.
I've still managed to fail a charge with it.
I don't know how.
I don't know how, but I did it.
That's crazy good.
So yeah, it's pretty good. I think some of that I didn't know I had move through cover, and that's literally why I failed. And then afterwards I was like, I move through cover. You learn in the army when you.
That's really good for the big fellas, though.
Yeah, so it's going to be on your big beastie HQ. And then you can change the objective, and this is going to be quite contentious. You get a victory point.
This is one that's I think
the blood must flow.
Popped up on a lot of chats and a lot of podcasts and a lot of events, and people were like, "No, It's horrible.
Yeah.
But go for it.
The Demons of the Ruinstorm player gets 1 victory point for every unit, friendly or enemy, that's been destroyed in combat due to result or Overwatch or sweep in advance. So as long as it's to do with the combat phase, you get a victory point. So like we've already said,
strong.
This is all about combat, getting rage, getting rampage, getting in people's faces. And then if you failed in combat, even if your guy dies, you still get a victory point.
You're like, kill me!
Oh, right, yeah.
You charge in, you've got 1 model left. Oh, charge in, you kill me on Overwatch.
So,
you're just going to have no fear about sending into anything, really, aren't you?
And it's when you go up against, your World Eaters, your Space Wolves, everyone who wants to be in combat with you. You don't care because you die and it's funny, you get points. If you go up against Gunline, you don't get there quick enough. That's when you lose.
Yes.
Because you get shot. So it is really important to remember it's just that. Well, Overwatch isn't that powerful, is it? Unless you're playing. Well, zones would be quite fun actually. With the you could Overwatch everything, couldn't you?
I'd have to work out how that works because obviously you wouldn't fit a portal in, would you?
Yeah, you portal in zones.
Yeah.
Oh, but
I did. Yeah, I played a game with it.
Could the base fit?
You'd have to be.
You couldn't fit it down the corridor.
You couldn't fit it in the corridor, but you block a corridor. I think I've played zones.
Never done.
I must have played zones.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah.
So you'd block a portal because it's impassable terrain as well. So you could actually block off some lines. So you could use your portals quite effectively.
My issue is, would it fit? Because it's big.
Well, I think you just you know you're going to play. I think when you go to an event, it's maybe going to the organizer.
You'd have to be. Don't be a
Can
dick.
we move this
Come
stuff
on.
a little bit?
But you could get really good table.
I mean, I know I've played a lot on the proper Forge World one. Even those base tiles, you could just turn a couple round and you could find some spots.
I think there's ways to do it, but it's
you maybe talk to your opponent and say, well, these are breaches and shit. You could do things like that. And actually, the new ones are really modular. I'm not seeing anyone glue them down.
No,
everyone's magnetising it because they love it makes sense to store, doesn't it? And all the wooden ones I've ever seen have always had magnet holes and they're always moving around. So I think
we see TT combat ones. You can just spread them out and things like that.
I think I played those at down in Incon. They've got a few, I think. So, I like everything in Heresy. You can make it really awkward for your opponent. You can put all your objectives down so you can't put any portals, but you're not going to have a game of Heresy. You're going to have a game of one.
It's like why turn up, and then then if you're at an event, okay, let's go sit down for 3 hours and do nothing, shall we?
Yeah, or should we just say, well, okay, that very well done, very tactically done. That's the point. Do you want to have a game and see what happens afterwards? I think
you always get those players though. You get the old one at every event.
I had a game where my Demon Lord had to fight against Gilliman. Yeah, and it was like Warlord off, and I think it was like I came out turn 1, he charged me turn 1. One of those games. Yeah. He smashed his fist through my face. Yeah. Okay, that's my Warlord dead. You've won. We've got 3 hours.
Should we just play on?
Yeah. Should we just kind of go? Well, okay, you won that one.
Yeah. Because we did that.
Carry on the game.
Wow. God, was it 4 years ago or something like that? I went with Mike Howe to one of your 40k doubles events. Oh yeah. So it's 7th edition, and we took Grey Knights, like a double Grey Knights, and we went up against a really horrible Eldar army. No, it's Taldar. It's Taldar, right? Yeah. And they basically wiped us turn 1, and we wanted to play. We were like, you got the win. Should we set up again? And they were like, no. So we literally sat there for 2.5 hours twiddling our thumbs going, oh, Jesus Christ. And it was horrible. Yeah. Never again. Right, yeah. Go on. So that's the Crimson Fury one. Yep. So do you like that one? You're trying to work that out at the moment?
Yeah, I thought I'd run it to see how it goes. I mean, my models are a mix of Khorne and Slanesh models from 40k and then some big monsters.
So it's themey,
it works quite nicely as either, really. I think my playing style, I quite like combat. Most armies have a lot of combat in it. Just gives that a nice little buff, and it can be easily combated. You have a unit of breaches.
I have to play with my World Eaters and just give you loads of points.
So I mean that's the exact point. I mean, I think I don't know if you guys met Justin, like the American guy we had coming down. We played a few events, but that's the sort of game he plays. World Eaters.
Oh, with the World Eaters, I remember
he loves that kind of carnage. He'd love playing Custodes because he's like everything dies, blood flowing. He loves it. Yeah, why not? That's the kind of mission. If you throw yourself into it, it'd be good fun.
Just be a good laugh. Yeah,
definitely.
Right.
Next one is Creeping Scourge. This is the Nurgle, not Nurgle. All models, infantry, jump pack, beast, cavalry, gain feel no pain 5 up, and all monstrous creatures gain it will not die. The only problem with this one is units as part of the detachment roll 2d6 when making run or sweep in advance and use the lowest dice.
Right, so it slows down. It's very Nurgle, isn't it?
Yeah. That's not Nurgle. And it unlocks Miasma of Rot, -1 toughness or armor value. You've got the Warlord traits, which are, first one, Warlord and all friendly units with the Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule within 6 are considered to always roll a 6 when called upon to take difficult terrain and dangerous terrain tests. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Next one is Warlord may reroll all failed feel no pain or it will not die tests.
That's not strong. Bad either. Yeah, that's a good one.
And the other one is all units within 3 inches of the Warlord at the end of the fight subphase that do not have the Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule suffer D6 strength 2 AP- hits. These hits and any casualties caused do not count for combat res.
It's worth saying there as well, the possessed in the list don't have Demon of the Ruinstorm. So you just need to be a little bit careful near there.
Yeah.
Their objective choice is at the end of the game, after the final turn has been played, Demons of the Ruinstorm play gains 2 victory points for every table quarter that has a warp rift marker in it. No enemy units within 6 of that warp rift marker, and at least 1 friendly Demon of the Ruinstorm unit within 6 of it. So you could literally camp around your own.
It's alright, but you think at most that's 6 points. Is it for every? Have I read that wrong?
For every quarter. So I think this is probably one of the strongest to play to the strengths of the demon list.
Right.
You can get up to 4 rift markers because the big demon can drop one.
Oh, okay.
So you could get 8 if you worked it that way in each quarter of the board.
Right.
And it depends which mission you're playing, like you say. If it's something that's kill points or high, but some things are actually really low. Like what's the one where it's like table quarters anyway, table deployment zones. Those different missions that are quite low points. Tiny Carnage or maybe War of Lies might mess people up.
Yeah.
But I think that lesser demons are harder to kill than big demons by a long way.
Because there's sheer weight of them.
Numbers.
Yeah.
So if you think you've got Feel No Pain, you've got a 5 up rerollable within 6 of the marker. All your big dudes are to
start with.
Yeah.
Hang on,
I
couldn't kill your stuff with Talons.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have that.
And this whole thing is about staying within 6 of the Warp Rift marker, and then you go right. Okay, so everyone within 6 can move up to 6 for the difficult terrain and stuff. You can really set up your warp, and you pick where the Warp Rift markers go. So you can make, if there is dangerous terrain, if there's different things there, you can make this. That I think this could be the toughest list. If you had loads of plague bearers with inverted commas, or even Nurgling swarms,
it's going to be a nightmare to
you're never going to shift
take
it
them out.
in a million years. And actually, if you've got some units of 20 on all your rift markers, you've then got all the big monsters
you can
throw out and do damage to all the
and then they're tough as nails now anyway.
But all your little dudes are going to sit on those objectives all day long. And then actually, if you're like throwing in some of the shooting attacks and stuff, you just got to come at them. And you're not going to shift them.
You're forcing them in, and then they're tough as nails.
So that for me, if you want to be that guy, is list.
That's tough. Yeah, that's quite. That is really strong.
But it's so theming. It's really themed as well.
Because I mean, Nurgle Nurgle with question mark.
Oh yeah.
And you can then
they're going to be tough.
Then what psychic power combinations can make that even tougher for people? I don't even know. So what's the one that's 4 up, Feel No Pain, Eternal Warrior. There's a lot of stuff to make yourself win. Yeah. Like we were just saying, with those guys at the tournament, that's the one I think would be very boring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You'd win.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But it's theming.
Be good, people.
It's how
good.
you play it. But I think that's pretty strong.
It'd be cool for some fun games, just as you said, themey, and you want to get stuck in some tough.
But then I suppose if you get
style, like a Death Guardy theme sort of demon list.
But then if you get a salamander list with a load of flamers, artillery, because it's again
just walk in, torch them.
Typhons, stuff like that are going to start doing
just
pain.
Deleting stuff.
So it's combatable with that. I'm sure everyone will sit there going, Alex, what about this list? I'll kill it. But like we're saying, a generic, I'm coming to an event, I've got an all-comers army, that's going to be quite hard to shift for people.
Definitely.
But if you tell your mate and you want to have a play, go for it.
You could definitely have fun with it, but it is quite tough.
Yeah. Right,
so the next one.
Well, do you want to talk about this, Tom? Because you use this one a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I've tried this one out. It's Lurid Onslaught, so it's the Slaanesh, not Slaanesh. All models in the deployment and detachment gain hit and run special roll. Decent. The downside is no units as part of the army can benefit from cover save except one by Jink. So yes, you may lose out from the odd bit of cover, but
but then when you got 5 up against everything anyway,
I don't think it would make a major difference. Maybe I suppose it could affect your flying monstrous creatures, perhaps.
You can have Jink. It says except provided by Jink. So
I'm more thinking whether that includes like the night fighting stealth save, because then you put your Jink up to a 3-up.
That's a question. I don't know.
That is interesting.
Oh yeah, because obviously the night fighting gives you a bonus to your cover save.
So 3-up Jink.
But you wouldn't get the bonus for the cover save then, would you? It's a funny one.
But I think, like we said about the defensive grenades, the Shroud of Darkness, having hit and run means you can get charged. You then run away
and then
charge
back in.
That with the defensive grenades is like okay. And actually, that's quite Slaanesh-y, I think.
So you've nullified them, and then you've come out, and then you get all your bonuses coming back in.
Yeah.
Well, unless they've got but how many units have got defensive grenades?
And these the warlord traits for these, which I normally go on, is when fighting in a challenge against a model with a higher initiative value, the initiative value of the warlord is increased to be equal to that of its opponent, which is really good, seeing as though Demon Lords are only initiative 4. Whereas you get
be good against Primarchs and stuff.
Well, any character, your Praetors, your Centurions, they're all at least 5.
Yeah. Gives you a fighting chance, doesn't it?
Yeah. The next one is
how would that work? What was that one that knocks your initiative down? So you'd fall with it. So if you took someone down to, or even with fear, if they're not fearless.
Oh, that's weapon skill.
Oh, that's weapon skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think I'd probably play that as just you're equal
level,
to the current one, so it's just level.
Yeah.
I think there's something in like the new 8th edition where it's like the minuses happen after the roll or something.
I think they changed the order, didn't they?
I've never heard of anything like that.
It sounds crazy to
me.
Right.
The next one is the warlord and any friendly units within 6 inches does not roll a dice when choosing to run the shooting phase, but instead always moves a maximum amount. So that makes you fast, which is good.
So it shows you the speed of the army and that. Yeah, that's quite a good one.
And the last one is warlord and any friendly units within 6 inches add +1 distance moved when making a charge in the assault phase. This does increase the maximum possible charge distance to 13.
That's quite
inches.
Good. So how many times do you miss the charge by that inch and then bang?
Every little helps.
Every inch.
Everyone likes an extra inch.
Oh, of course. This, unfortunately, I'd say is a downside with the objective for this, because it's the Demons of the Ruinstorm player scores 1 victory point whenever an enemy unit fails a morale check. This does not include tests made to regroup, but does include pinning, fear checks, and checks made by stupefying musk emanation, which was what we went over earlier. However, any enemy unit that succeeds at any of these checks due to a result of insane heroism, so the 1, reduces the total number of victory points scored by this army by D3.
Obviously, can be quite difficult,
Yeah, it's like we're saying, with chaplains, with people ignoring fear, so that just knocks out one stage. You've got to pay for units to have your stupefying musk. So
and again, it's rewarding you for doing that. It's rewarding you for theming it.
But
yeah, there's a lot of
be difficult to score high points though.
Yeah,
I just can't see you scoring high at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas you could choose something to go either with the main mission, whatever it is, or you don't take Lurid Onslaught and you take another Dominion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I quite like the theme of it. I like all the other stuff, the warlord traits, things like that. But that last bit it can be quite difficult. But
I think that's going to be the biggest shock if you've got a Slanesh army in 40k or used to play it and you're used to like high weapon skills and crazy initiative.
Yeah,
it's going to be the biggest shock for you. I think.
Yeah, it's going to be totally different.
It hit me totally different. I thought, yes, they all when I started hearing about it because I didn't actually go to the weekender. I thought, they all start at the base, and then I thought, these Dominions will give them stuff like extra initiative, or this, depending on what it is. Or
I mean, if you can give people Feel No Pain for free, you can give them Rage for free. I didn't see why +1 initiative couldn't hurt them. And it would have been initiative 5, so your Space Marine heroes are going to be hitting the same. It feels like the Emperor's Children, and maybe they got the Sonic Streakers, haven't they? So maybe when they charge, so they could have picked some rules up from there. But it's a different way to approach them.
I'm not.
There's still some good bonuses in there. It's just the overall score victory conditions.
It's on the psychology side of the game, which, like we said, has been quite muted. So
right, then next one.
Yeah, we've got Maddening Swarms. So again, this kind of has the feel that it's a bit kind of Zinch in a way. So that's the one that unlocks the Brotherhood of Psykers.
Okay.
But what makes this one quite powerful is you get an extra emanation of horror. So I don't think we said actually when we went through those that each unit type has its own number it can take. So a bit like kind of war gear slots.
Okay.
So you'll have some things can have like 3 of them.
So
I think Lessers can have 3. Some can have 2. So I believe Beasts can only have 2.
Can only have 2.
So you might actually be sitting there thinking, these are all amazing. I'm going to pile them up and have a 500 point model. But no, you can only have 3 on the unit. But this gives you +1. So my feeling is that they probably wanted just everyone to have the psychic power one.
Yes.
As a freebie. But then when you start looking into it, you can then get those extra really nasty.
You can get your defensive grenades, your frag grenades, your rending, and your shred.
So it makes it easier to make that
tougher.
All comers list when you go to events and things like that. Yeah.
It'd be expensive as hell to do, but
you'd have some tough ass lesser demons and bigger guys,
But then it has got a bit of a kind of thing onto it. So it says that any unit capable of manifesting psychic powers which doesn't do so must roll an extra dice for all morale checks and leadership for the rest of the game turn and use the 2 highest. So it's kind of really pushing you for not using psychic. So it's trying to theme you down that road.
Yes.
And I think, like I said earlier, like that's going to be quite tough if you're like in combat and you've got psychic missiles. So what happens there? So actually, that's making them weaker in combat, which I quite like. If they fail combat, they're going to kind of pop a bit more because they've not used the energy. So there's a bit of a fluffy theme. It's only if they can.
The Brotherhood of Psykers ones, you only get Witchfire, which you can't use in combat. So you're sitting there going,
But it's up to you if you take it. It's an option for this list. You don't have to put it on your models. So you can choose how they want, but it's to try and put that little bit of instability.
This is the psychic-y one, though.
The psychic one. So, like, if we then go into warlord traits, the warlord generates
font of madness.
Font of madness.
Okay. That's a great name.
It's a font,
the font of madness.
Comic Sans or whatever. It's probably more religious tones than anything else, but anyway. So it gets warp charges equals to its mastery level +1, and if it doesn't have a psychic psychic level, it gets D3.
That's a good way of generating
warp
charge.
That kind of battery we were talking about earlier. For For each unit with a Psycho special rule within 6, I'll get an extra attack during the assault phase. So that's again, giving and taking away, isn't it? You get an extra attack if you need a Demon Lord, but then you're probably going to take extra psychic dice if you haven't got it.
Yeah.
And then, that's quite cool. So when making any rolls to determine when friendly reserves arrive in play, or for which table edge friendly outflanking units arrive on, the dice may be re-rolled. Well, that's weird because you can't actually outflank.
I was going to say, no, you're going to come up. You can only play from the portals.
Unless there's a way to get your. It says friendly, so if you're thinking about.
So if you're allying.
Well, that's going to get some guys thinking like Alpha Legion. It's going to be Alpha Legion Demons. But you'd have to take this. And you'd have to roll a 5 or a 6, so it's one of those maybe tactics. But
so on the Allied Matrix, these are agents of the War Master, aren't they?
I believe so. Yeah.
So they're going to come in.
They were on about friendly taking them as well, but
it's pretty much the only thing they can't do is go into transports.
Yeah.
They could pretty much everything else. They're buddies.
So that's a nice maybe. Yeah. And the others aren't too bad, especially if you like your psychic powers. I'd hate to see 1,000 Suns list with these guys. Yeah, I think we talked about the admin phase.
God!
We spoke about wheeling with these 1,000 Suns.
Psychic phase would take so long.
Those little cards, those note-taking cards that lay 5 things for all these psychics because he just couldn't remember it all. I think he famously forgot it for a whole
nightmare. Game. You need a spreadsheet on a computer just to keep track of everything.
Yeah, I think it'd be very boring to play.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare.
But I think this with something else might be quite cool, just to give you that flavour. Because, like we said, there's not a lot of psychic
Alpha Legion, that sort of thing, just interact with them. I think that would be quite cool.
Okay, and then their special victory conditions.
Warp conflagration.
So every unit destroyed or removed from play or forced to flee the table by a psychic power or wounds caused by psychic power. So if you failed a panic test from psychic powers,
it's kill points through psychics.
Get a victory.
Yeah.
If 4 or more warp charge points are allocated to a power that destroys or otherwise removes from play, you get an extra victory point. So it's really
risky though, isn't it? Because obviously you're throwing dice at it. Yeah.
So I think, like I just said, then if you do have that loads of psychic, that's asking you to random 1,000 Suns, isn't it? That's just.
That's crazy, yeah.
But I think, like we said with the Not Nurgle one, you can do it, but you've got to be ready for it, or it's got to be a themey.
Yes, yeah.
Let's play this scenario.
This
let's
is a crazy
reenact
one.
This.
You've got to love your psychic stuff for this one. It's a bit mental.
Yeah. So the final one is an odd one because it's Mirror of Hatred.
So I think this is supposed to be. Is it Malau? Was it the anti-chaos demon?
Yeah. It's God, I'm not going into all that. Jesus,
it's all that old fluff.
It's old school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
It's all models in the detachment gain Hatred, Demons of the Ruinstorm, and Psycho special rule.
God, sorry, hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's demon on demon.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I think I can't remember.
That makes sense then with yeah. Oh wow.
But actually, then Psycho special rules, so if you're going to play against 1,000 Suns, then just pick that one.
Just get hatred against them. Yeah,
if you go against... I'm guessing every demon player that plays against another demon player is going to go, what a surprise, I'm Mirror of Hatred as well.
That's a really specialist one, that is. That's a fluff-driven one.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to set it up as part of a campaign or something like that, but yeah.
And an army using this Dominion for its primary detachment may not include an allied detachment.
Okay.
So it's just purely this. I think this is again to say this is just this agent that's going out there, and it's kind of the anti-chaos one. It's going out there.
Yeah.
And then you've got your warlord traits, which first one, when this warlord is involved in a challenge against a model with Psycho, Demon, of the Ruinstorm special rule, the controlling player may choose to use the weapon skill and/or initiative characteristic of the opposing model for the duration of the given fight phase.
Oh, that could be interesting.
This does not alter the characteristics of the opposing model. That's, I suppose...
It's worth it if someone's got one of the special characters, I think.
Yeah.
Or like you say, if you're playing Magnus.
Magnus, they just go up against Primarch,
Next one, the Warlord gains the effects of Hatred during any fight subphase, not just the first. Which is really good.
Oh, wow.
Every round.
That's horrible. And that's again against Demons of the Ruinstorm and Psychers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the last one, When a warlord with this trait is reduced to 0 wounds, roll d6. On a roll 6 plus, the model is placed into ongoing reserves with all of its wounds returned instead of being removed from play.
Oh, that piss people off.
To the 6, but you know it happens.
Yeah, I know, it's going to happen.
This warlord trait may be used more than once in a given
So
battle.
it's every time it dies.
And there is no limit to the number of times a model can be
Fucking
returned.
hell.
However, once this roll is failed, the model may not be returned to play by any other means.
This is the get your microwave dice out maneuver.
The Tonka dice.
My
The
Gino,
Tonka dice.
Gino dice.
Gino, yeah, the amount
I've
of
got
times
that
I've seized
6.
with them. Actually, I think it's our Heralds dice because the first round, 5 tables seized with our dice.
Well, I've got a Gino
sat
one.
up behind you in the box. You
Yeah.
I've got
wanted
a-
to destroy.
I've got a Gino one that was. I went to quite a few different Gino like Tarsus events.
I got
And
the big
think,
ones. I got the big ones.
Tom
yeah.
did one where he shit ordering dice, isn't he? So
Yeah.
one load of batches, the Gino was on the 6.
Oh,
And one
right.
batch he did, it was on the 1.
Oh,
And I
right.
got 1 dice like that. So you get a 6 and a Gino
And a
symbol,
Gino.
and the rest of them have it just on the 6.
Oh, man.
So if it's in the batch, you don't really realise. So yeah, it's Tom's secret seizing dice.
Oh.
So that's sat on my cabinet at home just so I don't take it to games anymore. But when I first noticed it, I called him out at an event and it was quite funny.
Keep in your bag when you play an arsehole.
Well, when
No,
I run this against Meaker.
don't do this, guys. In communities, bad dice. Because there was a guy I played at an event year before last, and I thought his dice were dodgy, and I found out last October he got kicked out of an event for dodgy dice. So
Really?
you know, you just don't know.
Well, they're out there, aren't
Yeah.
they? They're
But
out
once
there.
you're caught, you're done. You know what I mean? So.
Your name is Mud.
Yes, especially in such a small
game of
community,
solitaire,
really, when you
isn't
think
it?
about it.
The thing we missed on that one as well is that if it comes back, you get a Sailor Warlord each time. So you can give away a lot of victory points if you're on.
But it's just funny that guy
Oh,
just
yeah.
popping up again.
And the objective for them is Daemons of the Ruinstorm player scores 1 victory point for each enemy unit with any of the Psyker, Demon, or Demon of the Ruinstorm special rules that is destroyed, removed from play, or forced to flee from the battlefield. And loses 1 victory point for each friendly unit with any of those special rules that is destroyed, removed, or forced to flee. If at the end of the game the Demons of the Ruinstorm player has scored exactly 0 victory points, then they are considered to have won, regardless of the number of victory points scored by their opponent.
Wow.
Brilliant. So yeah, you just don't kill any of their Psychers, even though you geared up to kill their Psychers. And then
Oh my god, that is such a ridiculous thing.
yeah, like we said, that's the really fluffy
That's-
kind of random. Let's have a bit of fun.
Oh, it'd be awesome though.
Yeah.
Right, I think at this point we're going to take another break because we're about to move on to basically the units. I think when we get onto this, we'll probably fly through a few and then get onto some of the main ones that you can see. But we'll break down most of it, and then just go from there. Cause some of them, some of the special characters got a lot of rules and things like that. But you know, we'll pick some out, see which ones you like, and then go from there. But we'll have a little break and we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. We are now moving on to all the units. We're just going to go through these as they are in the book. And first up is a good favourite of ours from the story. No, it's not, because I'm on the wrong page. No, it's a Demon Lord.
Got to include one of these.
Boring old Demon Lord.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah. It's a 0-1 choice. Monstrous creature. Make it flying monstrous creature if you want to.
Yeah. So it's worth saying on that one. Yeah, you can make it flying monstrous creature, or you can give it the jump pack. So you can choose what you want to do.
Obviously, one takes up an emanation, one doesn't.
Yeah. So yes, it's whether you have the points or you want more emanations. There's a little bit. It's obviously cheaper to have the jump pack. I think flying a Demon Lord's a bit of a waste, unless you really want to get it across the board. But then you probably put your portals down in the wrong place. So. But the jump pack, like we said, is quite good because it means you can hop over the portal. It's impassable terrain. Or get yourself out of that tight spot.
You can have the flying monster creature just in the gliding, so it's just
jump
a jump
pack basically.
Yeah.
But I think it's an extra 5 points. That keeps you.
I quite like the idea of the jump pack style, just to give it that extra bit of movement.
But if you don't give it the flying monster creature, you can actually, like the Hive Tyrants of old, Have
No, not the flying circus.
you can have demon brutes as bodyguards.
I like this.
So they, no matter where the wound comes from, they get hit first.
So they're great for soaking up wounds.
And that's including, so even if they're not in line of sight or in range, it just goes, it's like the essence gets sucked out of them or something. Like it doesn't matter where they
just
come
take
from.
the wound.
And they
brilliant.
can have different emanations. So the Lord can have 3. So like we said, if you want them to have wings, you can buy a 30-point set of wings that doesn't count towards that. So then you can have... So how do I run mine? I'll give mine a level of sorcery for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Flensing Talons for some shred, because like I said, I roll a lot of ones.
Yeah.
And then actually, after playing Castle Banana, frag grenade.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's where that swaps around a little bit. And then the brutes can have their own, so they can have up to 2, but every brute has to be the same in that mini unit.
Yeah.
And the
brutes are amazingly tough.
They're really tough stats. I mean, I suppose we won't kind of bore people with stats, but like the headline is that the Demon Lord's weapon skill 6. It's the highest weapon skill. It's leadership 10, strength 8, toughness 6. So it's really high.
Yeah.
And the brutes are pretty good, but again, their weapon skill 4, initiative 4. But their strength and toughness 6 and 3 wounds.
Yeah, which means they're not going to get doubled out and stuff.
And you get 7s for turn 1 and 2.
3 wounds.
And 3 wounds.
But they're only infantry, which is odd.
Yeah, so this is something that I've come across, that you can use grenades against monstrous creatures in combat.
Yes.
But brutes aren't monstrous creatures.
Oh, right, okay.
And you have to allocate wounds to the brutes first. So what do you do with a squad of melter bombs or crap grenades when they're fighting the Demon Lord and the brutes? So it's quite tough to work that one out.
Doesn't it depend what... Because they absorb deep wounds, but
Yeah,
can
they
you
are
target the... Because it's whatever you're in base with, really, isn't it? So you can target the Demon Lord.
The shooting phase. So yeah, it's one of those things. I think depends how like tight you run your combat phase and how bothered you are or not. I mean, I
suppose you allocate in combat. You go, these guys are targeting that. These will go there.
And that's how you have
You
to
tend
do
to
it.
go base first, and then anything within range.
But a lot of the time when I rock up and I don't know anyone, you know, if I'm playing you randomly,
we'll just chuck things
we don't
in.
have that, we don't have that discussion really. And I know some people go really at it, and I've had some people do amazing things and get you out of combat without even realising you can get out of combat. And no attacks. Like some people play the game that level, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't tend to do that. I kind of give people a bit of the benefit of doubt, and I know you're going to move 3 inches in. And
Yeah.
So actually, for me, this is forcing me to have a little bit of a conversation around it when we get.
I think if you want to protect your Demon Lord, it's definitely worth talking about.
Yeah, but you can actually just put the brutes in front of the Demon Lord and fight within 2 inches, so you could just shield them with the brutes.
Them as a shield.
Just be aware of it. Just talk to your opponent.
Yeah.
Be adults about it.
So Demon Lord, I don't know if we mentioned, is 200 points.
Yes.
That's
before any upgrades.
So that means your greetings event. I mean, you can have a bare bones one and that's it.
True. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, he's pretty good stat line for a 200 point one, and he's got, if I remember right, he's Eternal Warrior.
He is. He's Eternal Warrior, which is very useful because there is a lot of stuff out there that drops toughness and instant death weapons everywhere. He has all the kind of Hammer of Wrath on the brutes. It's pretty good stat. He's the one you're going to buy first anyway.
Yeah.
Like we said, the brutes look after him. He's always the warlord. He'll always be able to come in on the turn that they want to.
Yeah.
So like we said, you don't have to roll. You just choose when they come in. But if he's a flying monstrous creature, he can't have brutes attached to him. Yeah. So that's the only attacks for it. But yeah, he's your no-brainer. He's your Praetor.
To be honest, if you're popping out of a portal, I'd take the brutes.
He's the no-brainer.
Yeah.
You just buy him if you don't want a special character. You want a Praetor level, just a bit better. He has gone against. I've had him against a couple of Primarchs, and the Primarchs win. Like he's not gonna.
But then when you're comparing something kitted out, he's going to be what 252. Not even that really.
Yeah, it's half points.
So he shouldn't be as good as Primarch.
Tough Primarch.
He could definitely have a little fight with him. But if he doesn't go down straight away, he's got 6 wounds, so he could hold out and then put some damage.
Initiative 4, so...
Well, again, it depends on what you're doing as well. So if you've got then it will not die. You're probably about you're as tough as a Primarch.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You can have a 3+ save. You can have a 5+ invulnerable.
Yeah,
you can re-roll that if you're clever. He's a good character. He's a strong character. But yeah, it depends on the dice. Is he strong kind of Praetor level?
Right, the next one is Kabanda. So this is the one that did he break Sanguinius's legs? If I remember rightly.
Almost killed him.
Yeah, he proper had him, didn't he?
This is Ruinstorm, isn't he? He's up in
there.
Yeah. So when I see Kabanda, I see the Forge World's big.
He's the big bloodthirster guy, isn't he? Yeah.
And his stats, like we said, the only way you get higher stats is the special characters. But this guy's rocking at 460, so you couldn't make a Demon Lord as hard.
No.
He's weapon skill 9, so he's 3 better. He's toughness 7, so he's 1 better. He has 8 wounds. He's initiative 6.
He's got 7 attacks. Yeah.
7 attacks.
Yeah.
He is your super blood, and he's got a whole page full of rules.
Jesus Christ! You have to see special rule list.
All about Khorne.
Blimey.
Basically, so it's everything about has the Skull Keeper Warlord trait.
That's
so
D3
that was D3 automatically.
Why he's got Sunder and everything.
And then he also gets +1 to results range. So he has to be in a Crimson Fury.
Well, that makes sense.
Which makes sense, but it means they all get +1 on their rampage.
That's
so that means
wow. +1.
So he must have 7 attacks plus D3 +1 for being in Crimson Fury, won't he? So he can have.
Which one is it? Miasma of Rage. Which one's the one that gives you? There's one that gives you rampage, wasn't there?
Yeah. So what this gives everyone within 12 gets +1 to the rampage roll. So because he's in Crimson Fury, he'll have rampage.
Yeah.
So he'll get D3
+1. No, he does. He's got. Oh no, that's Miasma of Rot. So what's Miasma of Rot?
Miasma of Rage is his own special
rule. Is
rule.
it his own? Oh, okay, right, okay.
So it's the rules below. So this is what we're talking about. So he's
got
of course,
7, that's the one.
He's got 7 base. He's a flying monstrous creature, so he's always probably going to be outnumbered. So he'll have at least 9 attacks.
10 for charging.
And then if he charges in, no, he'll have 11 because of rage.
Oh, yeah. No, he doesn't get rage because he's a monster
creature. Oh, yeah, so he gets
rampage. Oh, he gets 4 up.
So he could get
4 up invulnerable if he's in combat.
He could have 12 attacks.
Yeah, 12 attacks with those stat lines, and a 4 up invulnerable in combat and a 3 up save.
His attacks don't max out at 10, do they?
He's got the same rule as the Vanguard of Hell, so he comes in whenever you want him to. There's something here about.
Yes, preferred enemy and hatred against Sanguinius.
He gets a Hellstorm template, which does strength 6 AP dash.
Yeah.
Any unit underneath the template suffer a number of hits equal to the number of wounds Kabanda caused during the preceding assault phase. So if you're looking at like 14
attacks,
God, I'm
just
reading 9, strength 8, AP 2, he is gonna be just eating.
He's gonna just go through units for fun. This guy.
Yeah. So like I
like the eternal rivalry, hatreds, a preferred enemy and hatred Sanguinius. Like it.
That's extra secondary objective, which gives you scores 2 victory points if Sanguinius is removed as a casualty whilst fighting in a challenge against him.
So he's like your 460. He's your Primarch level character. Looking like he's going to hunt one of the Primarchs as well. If you want to go for your big Khorne in your face, go for him. And again, it's quite cool to have someone from the books in the.
Especially if you're playing story, if you're going up against the Blood Angel list with Sanguinius, this would be a nice little battle. Sanguinius is beast mode in combat, but this guy's fucking scary. Okay.
Well, the next one, hopefully there's not loads of static. The Whisperheads. Samus is here. So I really like Samus as a character actually, and something I've been doing. We'll talk about armies at the end. But, I've been doing an army based around Vengeful Spirit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I really like Samus appears in that.
Yeah.
In a different way to big old Samus, like he's just like possessing people and doing weird things.
He's such an interesting character though.
But
he pops up in a few books and he's just so good.
He's like one of the main.
If you haven't heard of him. you need to start reading some books.
And again, I think he's in one of the first 3 books, isn't he?
He's in the first siege. Oh, spoilers! No spoilers! No.
So.
Right.
So again, he is Crimson Fury, so he's been Khorne. I think this is a model. Forge would have quite a good model for him, but I think actually you could probably do your own thing with him. The way this character appears, you could do your own thing with him if you wanted to.
There's that fantastic artwork from. I mean, I don't want to do spoilers, but this artwork's out there, right? Of Dawn fighting him. For artwork from the first Siege of Terror, but Solar Wars, and it's fantastic. And you see him standing over Dawn. He's massive, and he's got that. It's almost dog-like.
Well, the models, the models are really close to. Because I think Jodie was painting him.
I think Jodie's still got.
He's still got into paint.
So
did a cool base as well.
Yeah.
But like we said, he's 415 points. He's kind of up there with he's above a Demon Ruin Lord. On par with Primarchs really. Weapon skill 9, strength 8, toughness 7, 7 wounds, initiative 9, 6 attacks, 3 up saves. So he's like.
So if you compare him to Commander just stat wise, Commander's got an extra wound, but Summer's got higher initiative.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Commander's got way more attacks though. So.
Yeah. This is kind of but I think I like about this is you have Born of Murder as a special rule, and this is where if you kill a character in the opponent's army, you leave a little marker.
Oh, okay.
And you can then basically use that as a warp rift marker.
Jesus!
And he comes out of that.
Wow.
So that's kind of represented in him possessing the characters. So
yeah.
As I said,
turns him into a conduit.
A lot of the time when you come across Samus, he's possessed somebody. He's kind of ripped out a real space. I think he's one of the first demons they have to kind of take down with the Lunar Wolves, don't they? He like kind of turns into this massive demon. Yeah, I think that was
Samus. in book 2.
Yeah, like they're in. It's the Wisp Heads, isn't it? They're all like getting attacked with all the.
It's one of his buddies, isn't it? And Loken's buddies.
Yeah, so that's like kind of one of the first demonic incursions. So they've put that in really nicely. And then to kind of this whole, we joked about like the static and the he's always like kind of disrupting stuff. Though. So that's the way to take -1 away from reserve rolls for your opponent. And again, you can't.
What's this?
Okay, then blessings aren't as good. So you add +1, so you need a 5 to cast a blessing.
Oh, okay.
And you have to take a fear test as well.
Oh, wow.
To charge him. They'd have their leadership value halved unless they have stubborn or fearless.
Oh, so, Jesus. So you're likely to get fear off.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the times he's a scary mofo.
So what's this? It's got designer's notes down there.
Yes, this is something that for this one and the next one is that they've said that these incarnations are for demons when they're full strength. He's kind of come out, been kind of summoned properly. Whereas the rules, I think there might be in a black book, but I know they're definitely like kind of online with the model.
I'm sure there was a downloadable.
You can take him as a Lord of War in like his word bearers and stuff. So you can take him in like different armies, and he's not the same rules.
I don't think he's clear. I don't think he's particularly that good.
No, I don't think he has like Eternal Warrior, which you think he does in this.
I don't think he's got.
Sunday Lord of Murder.
Yeah, and this guy's got Armor Bane, Murderous Strike, Will Not Die.
So this is Samus pimped up. This is how you want him to be. Yeah.
Where fighting Primarch level, and the thing about this is he's more powerful, and he's the HQ, so he's not Lord of War.
Oh, he's HQ. He's not even Lord of War. Jeez. So was Cavander. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So I think he's cool. I think it's quite a fluffy representation.
I like him.
And if you want to have a combat HQ that's going to have the initiatives, you need the special characters. It's the way to do it.
And this guy is brutal.
I don't see many people actually running the special characters because everyone has their own take on it, and I think you're definitely going down a path if you take Commander, if you take Samus.
I think over the years, especially if you're filtering out of 40k, there's so many people used to take a lot of the characters and some of the more known demons, if you know what I mean. Bellicor.
My next army, I'm definitely going to run.
Hate that guy.
I'm going to run Samus.
Right. I wouldn't blame it. It's really cool.
So
I'll play with my fists one day, and you can put him up against Dawn and kill Dawn for fun.
Kill Dawn easy.
Right. So next up,
callbacks, isn't it?
This is
that's
basically a giant grey and green one, isn't it?
I just love this model when people make him talk. This is the whole top of the head.
Yeah. So this is the model from Forge World, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is
basically the giant
series.
grey and clean one.
Yeah. So as you can imagine, he's not quite as combat-y, but he's quite
tougher,
tough.
but not as strong. He's definitely not as high initiative, but he's still
3.
So he's rocking in with the highest toughness so far, which is toughness 8.
Yeah.
He's got 8 wounds.
Toughness 9 in the first 2 turns.
Yeah.
And again, he's got the Miasma of Rot, Crushing Claws, Shroud of Darkness. So they've gone for that whole, like I said, like that whole Nurgle.
What you were talking about earlier with those guys.
So rending.
Yeah, so he's got rending on his strength 7, and most things are going to be dropping down to toughness 3 or 4 for Gustos. So he's going to be instant death in most things. Strength 7.
Would you think he'd have a higher saving throw?
Well, he's a bit squishy though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 4 up.
He'll probably have It Will Not Die, won't he? Because he'll be.
He's got Eternal Warrior, and it can only be taken in Creeping Scourge, so he'll have It Will Not Die.
Oh, it's re-rollable, isn't it? From what I remember. And feel no pain.
Yeah, and then he can take 2 levels of power and can only use Biomancy, so he's probably going to be buffing himself anyway.
Yeah.
Gaping Maw.
He can eat people, instant death.
Against infantry on to hit rolls of 5 or 6, have the instant death. Roll to wound and save with these attacks separately.
That's the same as what Janisha Crow's got.
Yeah.
This is cool. He also has Noisen Tide of Flesh.
Yeah.
So he has D3 Hammer of Wrath, but he ignores all dangerous terrain and difficult. He has Assault Grenades when charging, so I don't think the others did actually. So that's
I was about to say that.
Such a high initiative, they're going to be falling over.
Yeah.
Just that if it's coming at you,
just
stand
hide
behind
in
the tree.
Yeah. Hide behind everything.
That little
A little Picasso banana up. Come
on. But if you kill him, you put the massive Blast 7-inch template, and anyone that's not a demon or demon the Ruinstorm gets a poison 4+ AP full hit. If it's only strength 2 against vehicles, so it basically just explodes like a big pimple, which I just think is quite cool.
Just a giant explosion.
And again, he's got his own rules to be used not in the list. So this rule's just for when you're doing full demon
Ruinstorm. Yeah.
And the others if you do something else.
The next unit's just the Ruinstorm Great Demon, which is the lesser of the Demon Lord. Similar stats, just 1 less strength, 1 less wounds.
So I know he's cheaper. He's 160 points. Why would you take this guy? Unless you were just shaving points over the original Demon Lord. Oh, so you could take multiples of these, right?
Yeah, so multiples of them. So the 40 points actually sounds like quite a bargain because you don't get Eternal Warrior anymore. Yeah. You don't get coming on when you want to, so you have to roll. And he can't be a flying monstrous creature, so he can only buy the jump pack for him.
He doesn't have the brutes either, the option.
Yeah, he can't have the brutes. So I think these are kind of your keeper secrets, even though that model's massive now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for your Demon Lord and your Greater Demons are probably quite interchangeable models.
Yeah.
That's what I know. I changed mine around. The same base size as well, so it doesn't really matter too much.
The next one, the Demon Chosen, is an interesting one. It's kind of your buff. It's the old school from 40k. It's the Herald.
I was going to say it's like the Herald.
Infantry character. It's got Shepherd.
It's when people used to summon them all the time to get the extra warp charge and all that. It's
got Shepherd of Malign Intent, which at the start of the game, before any models are deployed, this model may be given 1 special rule from the list presented below. Once chosen, this special rule does not change for the duration of the game. You get preferred enemy either against infantry, bikes, jet bikes and cavalry, or monstrous creatures and flying monstrous creatures. Personally, I don't know anyone, unless you're playing against White Scars,
or Dark Angels,
Dark Angels, that everyone's going to take infantry, in my opinion.
So preferred enemy, you can pop them in. They're an infantry character, so most of your troops you can jump them in with. You can buy them wings as jump pack to keep them up.
It's preferred enemy pass over. to units.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you'd stick this guy in a unit of lesser demons.
Rerolling ones to hit and wound.
Yeah.
The problem I find with this is obviously you're limited to it's 3 heavy HQ support choice. So if you're going to take your Demon Lord, you could take 2 of these, which is buffing characters. It's kind of like, well, I'm going to have more units than that.
Yeah. It depends how points, distributing points, and whether, because preferred enemy would be quite powerful.
And it's how you want to run your army. Do you want the bigger beastie guys, or do you want everything to be small?
Pretty good in ZM as well, I reckon.
Yeah,
because it's base size, you're going to struggle with 130s, so you need something to lead a smaller force, actually.
This guy's going to be on 32 or something, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the problem with him, actually, because he's supposed to be on 32, but some of the models are going to be on the 40s and the 50s.
Yeah.
But like we said before, I don't think it's going to matter too much to most people. So that's HQ's over.
Oh, into Elite!
Elite, so your Demon Brutes, which we've actually already gone over.
Yeah, I find these units, they do the work.
So you get them 350 is pretty good.
Yeah, plus your upgrades, and then 50 points a model extra. I tend to run, in my full size list, I've been running 2 units of 6.
Alright, okay.
Armor save and rending. Yeah. And actually, I
300
went up
points
against,
a unit. That's really good value.
They're pretty good. I mean, they're probably running at ball 400-ish.
I was going to say, with your upgrades on top of that.
But I've taken on kind of Custodes Terminators. Yeah. I think I've gone against 2 units of those with a unit of 6, and they've kind of been there at the end of the game. 1 Terminator, 2 Brutes left, sort of thing.
And you're not gonna the toughness 6, so you're not gonna double them out.
Yeah, 7 to the worst you go down to is probably a 5 on the one of the last turns. They're just really solid choices in the army. They're not scoring, so they can go out and do the work. They've got enough hitting power to do some stuff.
Yeah.
You don't care if they die, apart from the loss of points. They're not scoring. They're not doing different things for you.
They are the only elite choice.
Yeah, the only elite
choice.
It's
strange that.
But again, they can represent loads of different things. Like I said, I have mine as I've got bloodletters. Blood crushers, not letters. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Fiends.
And then fiends.
Yeah,
and that's what works on 50 bases. Just 50 round bases.
Yeah, it works. I mean, obviously, Forger have released the models. They're brutes, but that's only one way of doing it. You know.
Nurgle, I'm trying to think what would be Zeech. I mean, I like the idea of skin wolves.
Yeah.
Any of those kind of ogre-sized models.
Yeah.
And any that's what they're for. They're that kind of size.
I think they're really good. Yeah.
Into troops, you got your basic lesser demon.
These are your bread and butter, aren't they?
They're the heroes of the list.
Oh yeah. They get their basic stats: 4s across the board, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7, 4 up save. You can have 20 of them in a list, in a unit.
So 60 points for 5, but then they're 12 points after that.
Yeah.
So 12 points
for a 2 wounds, 2 attack. Something that for the first turn or 2 is going to be toughness 5.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously got to add all your emanations on.
But that's before that. And
they can have really 3 emanations, and if you have Madeline Swarms, they can have 4. So that's what we were talking about earlier. You can really make
it expensive.
But that is expensive.
But when your starting price is 12, I mean, you get little tax initially.
So 240 points stock for a unit of 20, which, even if you didn't take any emanations, that's a nails unit.
That's
You're
tough.
Not rid of.
That is tough.
I've actually had some good success with just a unit of 5 with the warp scions, so they get the little magic missile.
Yeah.
And actually, they're only then probably still under 80 points. They're a little unit of 5 that's scoring.
Yeah.
You pop them out wherever you want and cast some psychic powers at them, manifest some stuff. They're not kind of big enough as to be a threat, but they kind of annoy people.
But you could just have multiple points. Units and just great, you know.
90 points for 10 wounds. The first 2 turns is toughness 5.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit more. But I honestly think the lesser demons in big squads are worse than the big monsters to kill.
Easily.
So if you want to temper your list against somebody and they're struggling, take lesser demons, take more big demons, because everyone's geared up to kill tanks and marines. Yeah. And actually, it's not going down the 8th route. Think of the monster's creature as a tank you can't just one shot.
Well, it's like when you come up against some Mechanicum lists and you're trying to get through the Castellux and that, and it's just sheer high toughness, multiple wounds. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
If you have enough firepower to kind of take some tanks on, you can shave the wounds off.
Yeah, but
And
then you're
actually,
having
you're
to
not
commit everything
the
to the...
Mechanicum and kind of bringing all the stuff. Whereas if you put a load of the same firepower into lesser demons, you're going to kill 2 models and they're going to sit there.
Yeah,
You might take 3 wounds off a big beastie, and then they might, as we've seen before, fail their morale check, and then.
But it fits the theme with like hordes of these demons, these less demons
yeah.
coming at you, and they're just soaking it, and you shoot them down. They don't care. They're just coming. You know, I love it.
And then the next one is my favourite. I just tend to
best troop choice.
I just run beasts. I don't run them in 2 big units. They're 75 points for 3 of them, but they're 4 for weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 5, toughness 5. So that makes them 6s.
It could be 6s, yeah.
2 wounds, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 7, 4 up save. So they're really nice, and the reason why they're better than that is they've got the plus to the stats and the strength and toughness, but they've got the beast rule, so they move 12.
12? Yeah.
They ignore all cover, so you don't even roll; you just go over it.
God.
Yeah, they're just phenomenally fast.
They could have up to 2 emanations.
Yes, they can't have as many. See, that's where you have to kind of pick. That's what I was saying earlier.
They could run them in 10s. 25
yeah, so you can have up
points
to 10.
each, yeah.
So I think they're a good point. They're a bit more expensive. It suits my playing style a bit better.
But they're fast, tough. Yeah,
fast and tough, but people can kill them because there's less of them. So.
Yeah, but while you're dealing with them, everything else is running around table. So.
Yeah, and they're scoring as well. So.
Is that troops? Yeah. Right, next one.
Swarms.
Yeah, I've not seen anyone run swarms yet. But they're like a swarm. They're only toughness 3, so with 4 wounds each, so they might get instant death quite a bit from different, like even a box naught without any arms on is going to be popping them.
I'm trying to work out why you take these.
I don't know.
I think it's just fluff, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
and it's actually, they're how many is that? That's 3 swarms for 60 points, so 20 points a swarm. You can have 10 of them and then D6 attacks, so it's just that weight of numbers. They can have emanations.
What swarms? How does their...
One.
Oh, they're infantry, so they're still just 6-inch movement.
But again, like you can give them 1 emanation, so like we said, weight of numbers, you could just give them rending and eat things.
I think you're right, it's more of like a fluff thing. You can see this in a nerd
Brimstone
kind of
horrors, nerdlings. That's about it really, isn't it? Little weird things you want to make.
You could do the rippers from Ned.
Yeah. Swarm of dildos for some ash.
Yeah.
Buzzing away over.
God.
Anyway.
All those little what the little goblin-y thing? The little. Oh fucking hell! Used to have a base full of them.
Snotlings.
Little snotlings. Yeah.
So yeah, they're okay. I'm sure they have their space, and like they said, they've tried to make this list as sandbox that they can. So someone will have an idea and they'll want to run them.
It'd be ruler cool as well.
Yeah, I mean they're quite tough. I think, like we said, that whole thing about staying within the portals, getting all your victory points, they're going to be quite hard to shift.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Or like the toughness 3 or 4. So
but then there's 4 wounds each. They're going to get their 5 up, re-rollable, don't need a portal.
Yeah, they've got a swarms rule, which I don't know what that means, but
I think they're vulnerable to blast, and so I think it's they count as extra wounds and stuff.
And they're a support unit, so they won't count as scoring, will they?
Yeah. Plus, when you read some of the books and you've got the swarms of bugs coming out of the nurgly type things and all that, really fits a theme.
I've seen quite a lot of people use the new like Tomb Kings for the Age of Sigmar. So
yeah,
they have scarabs and stuff with them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All sorts of things from myth.
No, I like them. Them.
These are different. So these are storm possessed. So like we said earlier, these don't come through the portals. So the only thing you can actually set up to start with, and they don't have the demon rule.
These are like possessed humans, aren't they?
So you can either have 10 possessed auxiliaries, or you can have 5 marines, I think, for 50 points. But actually, they're a little bit kind of worse.
No, you just upgrade them.
Do you?
There's 5 points per model to become a possessed legionary.
Oh, sorry.
So you can have 20 possessed legionaries.
But they're not quite... They're kind of marines with +1 leadership, -1 initiative, and +1 attack. So they're like, okay. They come with a bolt gun and power armour, or they come with a rifle. So
I don't see the place of them.
I think what I would see for this is you can obviously buy them some upgrades and things. So it's ways to get access to like melter guns.
They're a funny one for a troop as
Artemis.
well, because you've got this Slave to Darkness rule, which means they never score.
Yeah.
They never control an objective. You never score against them or whatever when they're removed.
I think it's just a way
Can't
to get
put
stuff
character winning with them.
in. So if you don't want to run allies, it's the way to get the theme
Yeah.
stuff in. You can use those death card models. You could
Be
use,
quite interesting, like Zone Mortalis or something, if you've got lots of these coming down
Well,
corridor or
I
something.
see the main use of these guys is to, if you are then playing missions, is to kind of deny people access to parts of the board, because these will deploy on your 12-inch zone or your hammer rack or whatever it would be. And actually I've found a couple of people have, if they're fast enough, they've actually got round my portals.
I'll tell you what they don't have is the Demon Roll.
Yeah, they don't have the demon.
So they won't get the
and
invuln,
they can't
yeah.
come through the portal. But all I've had is like White Scar players manage to get around my portals.
Yeah.
Because it counts as a board edge, you can't come on within the control zone of that model.
All
So
right,
they've
yeah.
circled my portal and stopped people coming out of the portal.
Yes,
There's no
yeah.
way to clear them off.
Yes.
So you could use these to kind of protect your portals or charge that unit.
Yeah.
Or it's to give you different advantages, and then
It's a bit different. It's still weird that they're sort of
yeah. I mean, they've
chucked
got
in
loads
alongside
of, like,
these.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Brisket skill 3 and 4, so you have got melter guns, you've got plasma guns, you can give a power fist to someone.
Yeah.
They've got all the guard upgrades, so you can actually kit them out like you would Legionnaire.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're like kind of mini veterans.
Quite high leadership as well, leadership 9.
Yeah, leadership 9, so they're going to stick around. There's a place for them. I think it depends what your theme is. So if your theme is pure coming out of the the portals and the warp, you probably won't touch them. But if it's actually this is a fallen planet and someone's summoned it and they've done a ritual,
Be really cool, roller cool, and they're fairly good. Well, they're good value.
yeah.
If you think about it, they're quite cheap. Yeah.
And actually, I would have liked to seen something in the HQ, just something like.
Yeah, because the problem is the Slave of Darkness rule. You can't attach an independent character to them, so they're just on their own.
But you could have had
be
like
cool
a
to...
character to attach that could only attach to them and was like the cult leader or the psyker or the you know how they've got in the how you run militia, but a different way to run that army list might have attracted some players to run in a different way.
It's just guys that have just been taken over and just out on their own, aren't they?
So cheap and cheerful if you want, but they aren't objectives. They're just
yeah.
they're dead already.
Right, fast attack.
Demon Cavalry, it's the same stats as your basic lesser demon, but with an extra attack. And obviously, you'd be the cavalry, which, when you've got beasts as a troop choice, it is tough to see why you take cavalry.
So the only time I said earlier was taking horn crowns for the extra D3 hammer raff and just pure number of attacks and put rending on them. So they can have 2 emanations.
So would this be more of because obviously when you say cavalry, that's someone riding something. So it'd be more maybe themey to the model if you got something riding on a beast like a Seeker.
The same points as a beast as well.
But they're supposed to be on that small base. So they're supposed to be on that little motorbike base.
Which it's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't. I've got some of the newer Saneshi ones, and again I put some bloodletter heads on them. Made them look a little bit different, but I just use the base that came in the model, and reading the book that's okay. It looks better. I got the Wrath and Raptures. And mixed them up, so I'm going to use them, but I'm not going to use Blood Crushers on massive bases.
It just doesn't work.
And this is your favourite one, Meaker, isn't it?
Demon Strike, flying monstrous creature. Strength 7, toughness 6, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, and love running that around with the Corrosive Vomit. Use a Strength Flamer.
So when entering plates, so this is they come out the portal like this.
Yeah, and they can either fly. They can be flying or sweeping, so they can really just come out, go 24, and hit some stuff. You can have 2 emanations as well. So if you really wanted to, you could have Corrosion Vomit, you could have Rift Barb, and you're a monstrous creature, so you can fire 2 weapons. So it is kind of can act as a flyer gun platform at close range.
At
high strength.
High leadership as well. Leadership 10.
Yeah, 5 wounds and stuff. So they're the demon princes. I mean, I'm struggling in my new army I'm working on. I wanted to use like the Abaddon model. For something like a possessed guy or something. But actually, on his base size, he's so big, I can't just use him as a chosen. So
give him
he
wings.
goes on a strike, but I'm like, I don't really want to give him wings. But could I just say that's his supernatural power? So I would have liked it if it was an upgrade. So make him 130 points and then add wings on like they do with the Demon Lord, just so I can have the option, because loads of people's Demon Princes haven't got wings. Like it's an option in the kit. But I remember the old metal one that came out, the power armor and stuff. That never had wings. Everyone bought Balrog rings and stuck it on. But yeah, that kind of I would like the option. But yeah, it's a really good strong choice. And,
so there's only 2 fast up options there.
Yeah.
But obviously you got kind of fasty speed stuff with the beasts and all that.
You do what you like anyway. And then onto the heavy support. I really like the greater Ruinstorm demon beasts. So they're kind of like your Castellax actually. I think they're weapon skill 4
monstrous creatures.
Yeah, 1 to 3, 100 points base. They have strength 8, toughness 6, 4 wounds, 3 attacks.
So I think a Castellax got toughness 7, but otherwise you got the 4 wounds. You got everything else fits, but then they got more attacks. So
yeah, they're a little bit better.
We'd have toughness 7 for 2 turns.
Yeah,
but these come
as a unit, so you can have 1 to 3.
Oh, right, 100 points each.
So I use for this, I've got the 2, I think it's the Spine Beast and the Spawn.
Yeah.
And I've got a Hydra, because why not? Because it's cool. Yeah, I've got a Hydra, and it fits on the base perfect. Yeah, it's that kind of big thing that's not super tough, because it's in the army, it's only got 4 wounds rather than something else.
Yeah.
And they can have 3 emanations. They can't have the frag grenades, unfortunately, but they can. They're monstrous creatures, so you can give them 2 shooting attacks. You can do different things with them if you want to. I just think they're a bit of fun. As a monstrous creature, they're quite good.
I really like the next one.
Yeah,
this is cool.
Yeah,
10 wounds.
Ruinstorm Demon Behemoth.
Yeah, so strength 8, toughness 7, 10 wounds, initiative 2, and 5 attacks. So yeah, he's pretty hard, and the coolest rule he has is unstoppable. So if you normally get instant death, you only take D3 wounds, and if you've got sniper or poisoned, you can only roll to wound on a 6.
He could take 3 emanations as well, which really good. Means you can really pimp him out.
He is going to be kind of 400 point model.
Easy.
I really enjoy it because he's like distraction.
Yeah, he's tough as nails.
I was going to say,
Land Raider.
I've bought a model for it. It's the Mutilith Vortex Beast because
we
used it as well.
Yeah,
and
it's the right size.
I love the model, but I've never seen because I don't collect the right army for him in other game systems.
Yeah,
I haven't had a reason to buy one until this book dropped, and I went, I'll have one. Still got to get around to painting it.
It's most of those kind of big Age of Sigmar models.
Every
Age of Sigmar has like kind of a dragon or a
Who doesn't like chucking the big models on the table, big beasties and that?
Yeah, like I said, I used the Demon Prince from Forge World and put him on a bit of a scenic base.
Yeah,
I thought he'd be a little bit bigger when he came along, but yeah, he works fine. So and you can have 3 of those because it's just a heavy sport choice. So.
Nice.
Yeah, not many points left.
I was going to say that's 1,200 points from here, Meaker.
Yeah, all you need is rapier platforms with heavy bolts and they go down.
So this is the final thing. This is the Lord of War, and this guy is really, really.
I want to try one out.
Crazy.
So apparently he has been taking down warhounds and stuff like that.
I can believe it looking at this. I mean, he's a hell of a lot of points, but
he starts at 600 and is a Lord of War, so you can't take him in a 2,000 point list.
No, 3,000 limited to 750.
Yeah, and even then it's not going to give you everything.
But you're going to kit him out. You're going to put all the stuff on. He's going to. So I'd say 3k plus is what you're looking at, which is what
you'd have to limit yourself if you're doing it in.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't make. If you made him flying gargantuan creature, he's then very limited on what he can take. I think some things you can take. But
so his stat line:
weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength 9, toughness 8, 10 wounds, initiative 3 was
that's quite low, isn't it? Yeah.
6 attacks, leadership 10, 4 up save.
And again, that's going to be strength 10 and toughness 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the first couple of turns.
It's his own emanations which are interesting.
Yeah, so is it gargantuan monstrous creature or a flying gargantuous monstrous creature? So that's basically like a super heavy version of a monster. So Yeah, can't be instant death,
Wow.
and I think there's loads of extra.
He's got a whole line of options, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can give him a 4-up invulnerable save, going to a 3-up in combat. I think that's probably a no-brainer on a 700-point
That
model.
is scary.
That's again, what's that say? That's Lord of Chaos. That's 50 points. So these emanations, you're definitely paying for them.
Yeah, this guy's going to add up. He's going to be.
Yeah.
By the time he finished, he's nearly 800 points.
I mean, to be fair, guys, it's probably not worth going through each bit. But you can give him a 2-up armor save. You can give him a good invulnerable save. You can make him a level 4. The one I think's the best is you can put a warp rift marker down.
So you're pretty much giving yourself a rerollable invuln.
Yeah, so wherever you want, and then all you guys are coming out right next to you. So
Plus that's a rerollable 3-up invuln in combat.
yeah,
It's got a similar rule to the is it the castigate the knight where he can negate his normal attacks and he can hit everything.
yeah,
Is it in base contact or just around areas?
yeah.
And it's all AP2. And he'll just smash everything around him. And he's going to be on a huge base.
And
so,
then you can do like the model Break of Titans. That's what everyone's probably taking.
So
Yeah.
just sacrifice normal attacks to make a number of attacks equal to half rounding down current attacks, but at strength DAP1.
Oh,
so it's 3 or 4, depending if you're charged or not, or if you're got rampage.
oh Jesus Christ! Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do
Oh.
everyone. There's loads of stuff, but you're paying for it, and it's gonna hit that kind of Porphyrion, that Warhound level of points where you only see on big games. And you're gonna know someone's gonna have it, or you're gonna have that super heavy or that Primarch to maybe have. I mean, I don't know if Primarchs would do too well against him, but some would.
I think it's getting through all those wounds and just breaking through. And especially if you give him the 3-up invuln. I think a Primarch's going to struggle over a whole combat
with a reroll.
He's just.
You probably do it with Rush.
But then he's probably double the points of most Primarchs, so it's just. I
think the worst case that you hear about is going to be like 1,000 points. So it's going to be a 4K game, and a quarter of the army is him.
Yeah.
I reckon you could get there.
Oh, it's crazy.
That font of the warp.
900 points max. Because you can only take 3 emanations, and max from that is 200 plus your fire monstrous creature.
Yeah, so about 1,000-ish. But yeah, that's still a quarter of someone's army.
Still crazy much.
And that is just so they've actually got the photo of the forge.
Is that Angarath?
Angarath.
Yeah, they've actually got that. Blood. He's there, so that's obviously got to put that in your head.
It's a big old model, don't it?
Yeah, Archaon's big demon, big mirror. I'm struggling. I've still not decided what I want to do for mine yet. I had some ideas of the ghost ship from the Deepkin, and then some doing a Kraken. Put it back into a warp portal.
Wow.
Like on a base that size or something, just so you don't actually have this massive demon. You have this weird thing putting you into.
When you look around, you see some of these third-party giant monsters and all that. You could really go to town on this. That's pretty much it. List. Yeah.
But you do have basically now malefic powers for demonology has been reprinted, but demons can't take them, so you can't take it as a demon player.
So we don't care.
So we don't really care. But actually, if you're running, it's got to just be that console, doesn't it? That came out in this book.
Is it Exoterrorist?
Exoterrorist. So that's the only way to kind of get the demonology, and that lets you summon demons from this book, but they're not as strong. So they can only take an emanation. They can't take as lot of. So they don't get all the rules. But it's a fun way to get.
It's the lesser demons.
If you like what you've heard about some stuff, you can take a little taste of it. Or add it in just for a bit of fluff as an ally to get some more. It's up to you how you do that. So that's the list anyway.
But there you go. That's Demons of the Ruinstorm. So that's a little bit of an overview. Obviously, we've not gone too deep, but the guys have given their thoughts on what they think of that. So overall, so if we go back, what were your initial thoughts on how they play when you first saw them, and then how have they evolved in your mind since then to how you play them now?
Well, we played, me versus Alex, played my first game with them as I was trying to get to grips with it. I won, but it was, I some misjudged some of the rules and that.
Yeah.
But then, apart from that, I just came up with a list and then took them to the events that I ended up playing you at the end, and you were the only one to beat me. And that was Custodes. That's
Talons.
It was the mission.
It was all mission.
Because you had to get into my deployment zone and all of your stuff outflanked.
Pretty much the entire army, apart from the Talon, could outflank or deep strike.
Yeah, so it just went, in deployment. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just one of those games. I literally only killed one of your units the entire game.
Yeah, I took out...
You took out a few of mine. My Telemann, Valdor and his unit, and I think you killed a unit of his sisters too.
Yeah. And I think that list was mostly... You had the Forge World Senesh as your ruin, and then you had loads of Demonettes, wasn't it? Loads of Demonettes.
I'm pretty sure that's the same event I played your Night Lords. So that's the same army.
Yeah. And my Night Lords, I think, just couldn't kill the plobs. He just got stuck in. I mean,
I took out your Knight.
I charged
him,
I
think. Yeah.
But when I played Meaker, it was just I charged him a lot.
Yeah.
Because I had jump packs and stuff, so I could stay away and then get the charge, but then wasn't doing enough damage and was actually being outnumbered.
Yeah.
So it was just those blobs and they were on the portals.
I think I had 2 units of 20 lessers, 2 units of 10 beasts, brutes, demon lord, behemoth, 2 strikes, and 2 chosen. And that was my list.
Yeah, so the big squad of 20 I preferred enemy as well.
It's
quite tough.
Yeah. His list was pretty strong. If it weren't for the mission, I wouldn't have.
But I think when you have such a new army, unless you're really that minded, you don't realise what you're doing sometimes, and then you play some games and you go, oh, okay, right, that's what that does. And it either goes either way. You get your ass handed to you every single game and you get a bit disheartened, or you're smashing everyone and you're thinking, what on earth's happened? And I think that's what happened to Wheeler. I know he's doing his new army now. But I think he ended up with quite a strong list by accident.
Yeah, he threw it out on the turn, and I think he'd smash people, and he didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's why I got bored of Talons, but because I did the same. I kind of got the White Dwarf rules, got really excited, bought everyone's Talons off them because no one wanted them from Prospero. So I got that army so cheaply because everyone was just like, "Oh, do you want some more Talons?" The White Dwarf rules are crap. Little did they know what was coming. So I ended up with loads of Custodes and an army just because I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
And then the book came out and it was like, wow, okay, it's a bit boring actually. And then for Demons, for me, I kind of got excited at the weekend, bought some Wrath and Raptures, made some models that I thought were cool. Got that Marathi box set, which gave me a lot of my army. And actually I've got loads of stuff on Sprue, actually, that I thought I'd need loads of less Demons because I thought it'd be low cost. And the funner way to play. And no, it's actually about the big models. You can kill them easy. Come and crack grenade me. Come and your units will kill me. I find that a bit more fun, a bit more balanced to play. I'm not in a rush to build loads and loads of little dudes.
No. Whereas I already had loads of little dudes.
You have them for your army because that's how the army works in the other systems. So I kind of went in blind and made some models that I thought would be this and isn't. I just went off like. You only get 2 minutes for the book, don't you? Because everyone's fighting you.
That's it, and then you're like, I need the book in my hand.
So that was kind of like, and actually, I've come up with an army that's all right. I think I can balance it either way. I think I've got about 3.5k, maybe a bit more, depending on what I choose. So when I'm playing little games, I can pick the fun bits. And if we're playing 3.5k, it probably doesn't really matter what you take because it's that size of game, and people have stuff that's tough and they'll have stuff that's weak in their army list. So
that's it, and you can see. You can see a lot of strengths in there, but you can see a hell of a lot of weaknesses too. I mean, I know you. I think we touched on there are some nasty builds you can do.
I mean they're the only ones that I've kind of highlighted because I've thought about. But you can delve with. You can better minds than me will find them.
Oh yeah, there's.
It's whether you want to unleash that.
I wouldn't be.
Just, you know.
I've said this before. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped the next FAQ, whenever that is, they could just go, right, here's 6 more emanations, and they could go, here's a bit more shooty, or here's some other combat options, because at the moment you've got rending or shred, or Sundering Fangs, but now you could chuck in, oh, here's some poison weapons, or here's something else.
Add a bit extra flavour.
I mean, you sound like a petulant child, don't you? But I would have just loved an option, even if it was just on some models, to get like an AP3. So like, you know, brutes aren't full monstrous creatures, but they maybe have something.
There's not a lot of low AP in the army, even in combat, really, unless you get lucky with rending or you know, or you're smashing with the creatures. Yeah.
So you take like, so either makes you, if you want AP to take big creatures, or you take rending, and everyone's going, oh, you got rending. So it makes the army the same. Like I'd be happy not to get an AP2. The same as when you're doing a marine list and you take swords over axes. Like,
yes, yeah.
I like that choice.
Yeah.
But it's a great list. It's really sandbox. You do exactly what you like.
Yeah.
You can go completely fluff. You can go completely whack. You can do whatever you like with the list. Yeah.
How could you see them expanding it, adding extra unit types, or is there anything missing really at the moment?
I think the Shrike level character on foot as like maybe a HQ.
Yeah.
But that's just me personally because of what I want in my army. And maybe said something around how to use maybe the militia list a little bit more and connect them where they're not just inside the list a bit more to expand that section. It just feels like it's just been put in as an afterthought. When you could just have auxiliary allies, or you could just have allies.
You read the books, and there's loads of these things where they run alongside demons and they work with demons all the time. So and even when you get to Siege of Terror, there's so many of these militia troops running alongside demons as if they do it every day. You know, it's just it works. But obviously, Black Book wise, we're not near Siege of Terror yet. So this is Cygnus Prime, isn't it, at this stage? So so there's still a lot of development they can do. Obviously, we can get Demon Primax and stuff like that later on. So,
and I quite like the list for. So I'm going to do my next army that I'm working on at the moment, Sons of Horus.
Okay.
So I'm doing that around Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to some of the guys. And I was like, how do I do the Luperci?
Yeah.
So they're the kind of Sons of Horus that turn into Garvorback, basically.
Yeah.
This Malagus kind of. Goes all witchy with everyone. There's like there's how the all the lodges move into this kind of, you're going to be a chosen demon guy now, and they're really cool. There's some cool bits in the books and stuff.
Because I think you were gonna use Galvorback rules, but slightly
so I was gonna do that, and I was chatting to some of the guys, and it's like, well, actually, the rest of that doesn't really work very well. And I don't like kind of the idea of saying these are word bearers, but they're Sons of Horus.
I agree.
It's a bit weird.
Doesn't work. That's like picking rules or something just to suit you.
And it felt like it could be done. So what I've done is I've got a detachment of Sons of Horus as my main detachment, so I can use Malagast as him, or a Herald if it's no special characters that everyone likes to do. And I can have some Sons of Horus in there with Sons of Horus rules. I can have Justerian. I can do all different things that are really to do with them, and it's that whole Vengeful Spirit assault on on everything. And then as the Luperci, I'm probably butchering the pronunciations. I'm running them as kind of beasts, and I've used Wolfen and the new Chaos Space Marines. So they're a bit bigger. And actually I've got like a little Dremel thing. I've trying to been taking off a lot of the stuff, but when you read that book, it's like all kind of gang signs are coming in, and chaosy bits are coming in. So those models are beautiful because they're actually mostly Mark 4. Bits of Mark 3 and 2. Like they're all like kind of.
I'm trying to think of the wolf. Did they have a lot of flesh on shoulder?
The wolf has loads of flesh, so I've done lots of chopping and lots of stuff. Used some claws and some old possessed bits. And then there's some third party heads that look like death swans for like the wolf skulls. And then I've got the Exosaurus, I can't say it, a chaplain in there. So I'm trying to all the things that would have been lodge stuff, and then here's the guy who does the rituals. So then the actual army, the demons, would be Samus, because he's like what's making them all there. Those guys are some beasts as an ally. And I'm just trying to work out the Abaddon model. I want to kind of make him as is it Tormageddon? Gets like he gets possessed. So I want to use him. So you have to use him as a Shrike, or work out how to use that model and make him cool. Like. I kind of like the idea of kind of a shadow of like, because that model looks like Horus, doesn't he? Not really Abaddon now.
Yes,
Abaddon so it's like kind of like gloom of the future of the Sons of Horus. I quite like the idea of taking the piss a bit, because the demons are supposed to not know time.
But I think when you dip into what are they called? The Talon of Horus series. By ADB.
Because that's just a scouring, isn't it?
It sort of hints at Abaddon almost being a clone almost of Horus, but he just needs needs almost like that warp push to grow into it, if you know what I mean.
So that's the kind of way to use. So I'm using demon beasts and some little bits of tactical bits, but then I've got normal marines that have got the rules.
Yeah.
And I'm having so much fun just modelling that army.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've got like a Cult of Paint tank course, so they're going to get weathered to hell now because they're going to get all that stuff.
It's the good thing about you boys in Peterborough as well, is that you're all, or at least most of you, are quite hobby orientated. When so not, I mean, obviously you all game and you're all good gamers, but you all focus on the hobby side of it as well, with the building armies, the painting, the modelling.
Yeah, I mean, we've had like the kind of Peterborough's whacked and all this stuff.
It's hard to shift it. Right.
Some bits, and actually, what's quite
I've
funny,
always
really,
enjoyed
a lot of it's been tongue in cheek actually, and it's more that.
A lot of it's in house as well.
Oh, it's in house.
So it's like Tonka and
and actually sometimes it's like there's things accidentally happen. Sometimes the guys do pick some tough lists, but everyone's kind of got this standard and really pushes and helps each other. And we've got obviously like everyone has their own local little group chats and stuff.
Yes,
and everyone's so supportive.
You're probably in both, aren't you, Tom?
Probably, you can quite a bit
because you're in Northants Heresy.
Yeah. And there's people will be really supportive if you ever need a bit. Put it up on the Legion page and someone will put it out, and they'll never want money for it. They'll just go, next time you got me, or you can. It's all about that hobby, and we've got like some really good guys in there, like that really love the fluff. So you got fluff guys, you got conversion guys, you got painters.
That's it. Yeah, it's a bit of everything. Yeah,
everyone helps each other. And
that's
actually,
what the hobby's all about.
Well, that's it. I mean, through our main podcast, we mention Peterborough quite a lot because we just love the community. And we've got good links with them because Northampton just being 30 miles down the road, it's just we've always been quite close. So the crossover's always been really good, and it's the hobby and the community side of it that really brought us close. And then we all meet at greetings and rip the piss out of each other.
I think what's good about the Peterborough scene is we've got kind of people who come down the club every week that we run it. We've got home gamers as well. But then they'll come to events and they'll always be active as well. So it's whatever your own hobby suits you.
They're quite welcoming as well when you come to events. You see the Peterborough boys. You can always you just go up.
I think we ran the
we've known them so long now.
Like a heresy event, didn't we, or something, from getting drunk. But I think that was like buying the opponents
probably
drinks and stuff as well. So it's not like
we did alright on the bar at the event. I won't go into it, but it was good. It's good. I think
so
the bar was one of the favourite bits of everyone. Just getting up there, spending their money.
Yeah. So are you going to do anything new to your army, Meaker? Have you got anything planned?
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got the Behemoth to paint up. I am hoping that they will. That people will become more tuned into how to maybe deal with demons.
I think there's a lot of I think it's an educating themselves on them. It's not a lot of people that really looked into them. I count myself in that as well. Up until recently, I've not really looked deep into it. Although I've been fortunate to play a few games against demons now.
James, I keep getting the impression that people aren't getting as much enjoyment out of playing against demons. I know James looked a little bit disheartened when I wipe the floor with him.
Ooh, shots fired.
Was that for the Night Lord's comments?
Yes, that was definitely a payback.
Oh yeah. James, and he's not a fan.
Sorry, I'll be doing it next week. It's fine.
I think they're a great army, and it's a change up because, like I said, I do Night Lords, but I don't think I'll do another power armor army. But with the option of obviously demons, militia, auxilia.
There's plenty to choose from.
There's more options now than there was back originally.
You've got your Warhammer Fantasy Beastmen, so you can bring them out.
We were talking about it before for AOS, weren't we?
Andy was giving so much crap for that.
I've got Beast
Age of Sigmar armies at the Heralds. I suppose they are Age of Sigmar models, the 40k models. I was quite happy with my army because it was when Contrast was coming out, was when I kind of bought everything. So I built it all, and I was like, right, okay, I'm going to give Contrast a go because I've got to get it ready for this Geno event. And then Contrast got really delayed. Obviously, all the fun of that. which really took down my hobby time.
Yeah.
So I ended up with an army that was sat there that was converted really heavily because I had the time, because I was waiting for Simon was sending me like one contrast painter a week because they were like
because of the way they were
from
coming
Games
out.
Workshop.
Do you paint them? Do you use them? Have you tried them through an airbrush yet?
Yeah, so that's what I did. So I had it all pre-shaded because I have had some airbrush courses and stuff.
Yeah.
And the base coat just went through an airbrush, lovely. So that's Space Wolf Grey on my army.
Yeah,
I've
been using one of the levels on my New Imperial Fists, and Iandan Yellow, and it's it's lovely to set up like it's just a base wash like Lamenta Yellow.
But
almost,
I think I did the army in 3. So painting it after pre-shade was 3 weeks. Fair enough. The morning of the event, I was gluing the magnets on the mace to get them in. Like the Riddicks picked me up, and I was like, one more magnet, and I'll be out. Oh shit! I need to brush my teeth and pack a bag and all that sort of stuff. I think
contrast paints have been amazing for to be released at a similar time to these Demons.
But for Demons, perfect.
They're just great. Yeah.
So many different tones. I think we've all been doing some Lord of the Rings, but you can get really good natural tones, all the browns. There's so many browns.
Yeah, I haven't tried them on my Lord of the Rings. Oh no, tell a lie. Yes, I have. I've been doing like leather parts and that.
So you can do the natural stuff really easily. You can do the vibrant stuff really easily. It gives you the toolkit for
the reds, the greens. That's so good.
I don't know people have
they're really handy,
but for Demons,
they're a tool. You know,
they're a nice plastic kit. They're quite detailed. They're kind of they're not. Everyone moans about power armor with it, but it's like it's got the detail to cling to.
Yes.
Especially the other models, people use crypt ghouls, don't they, from the Death armies?
Yeah.
I've seen loads of those, and all those, and actually all those. And I joked about chain rasp, but they're perfect for Demons and things.
Oh, they're brilliant.
And they'll be a super quick if you're a gamer, not a painter. You know, rattle can that and an airbrush of something blue.
Couple of contrast colours in there, and boom.
So it's a quick army, and it's good to do, and it's your own hobby, but. If you're a painter and a modeler converter, you're gonna like. Yes, you do
definitely.
It gives you everything.
It's you could really turn this into a massive hobby experience of just you could almost do whatever you like. Just there's no limit, and
you're limited by
so many with so many third party bits and even incorporating parts from other gaming systems and that you could just go for broke. And I like the way they've left it open like that, the way they've designed it.
And then in the same book, they've actually given you that whole section of stuff to beat it, which no one's looked at yet properly. So
what's that?
The Sciarcanas in the same book.
The Sciarcanas. I was tempted to look at some of them because you got things like Divining Blade and that, but I think we'll leave that for someone else.
Yeah, let's do Tactica anti-Demons.
It's getting late. Yeah. So just quickly, guys, thank you very much for this. If you want to do any shout outs for your Instagrams, your groups, anything like that, now's the time.
I think most people have heard of Greens for the Warp, seeing as our Heresy tickets sell out in an hour for all our events.
And if you listen to Heralds of Heresy, you would definitely have heard of them because we can't stop talking about them.
You're conceived there, weren't
it's
you?
How we started. It's how we met. The reach arounds. New album coming out later in the year.
Of course. Selfless plug of my Instagram is the.dark.prince.6. Give us a follow.
It's also on Grindr.
Demon Grinder.
Demon Grinder. Soul Grinder. Anyway.
I come from Peterborough, obviously. So there's the Legion of Peterborough Wargamers. We've got an Instagram. I think it's just literally it's either the Legion or Legion of Peterborough Wargamers. I think
so. Yeah. Facebook's the best place.
Alex Riddick runs the Instagram for us. He puts some photos up and stuff. And then we run a gaming club or community really out of a little village hall in Peterborough. So we have space for about 5 tables. To be fair, on a Friday night, do it bi-weekly. Little village hall, that kind of thing. We've grown the terrain. It's getting there really. We have lots of those, and then we're kind of connected with everyone. So quite a lot of the guys have boards at home and they play. And
I know Tonka's got a good setup.
Yeah, they've all got good setups and stuff. And then what we try and do is we do kind of run events. We used to run quite a lot of events, but we ran one in November and oversold that.
I've got to have not made it to one yet.
Yeah, just a couple of seconds, I think it was.
I think I got offered a late ticket.
Yeah, less tickets. But like every event, you sell it and then you end up going through the reserve list about 10 times.
It does help when you don't double book it as well.
Yeah, I managed to book on the same day as.
Or you do a Heralds of Heresy first event and don't have a reserve list, but actually luck out on the day.
Yeah. So, but again, I got a shout out. So, Ben Taylor used to do a lot of that stuff with the events, and he does when he can. And then Dan Collister, who's everyone must know Dan.
Mr. Collister.
Mr. Collister, he does his Lord of the Rings podcast now as well. If you're that
Castle Banana himself.
Castle Banana himself. Dan does a lot of work. He really loves doing all the fluff.
He's a really good painter as well. Really good.
Yeah, phenomenally good painter. But for the events, like he puts the work in, and I kind of just do the. I kind of work in like learning development, HR, so organising events and stuff's fine for me. But he does all the hard work of the fluff and the actual work. I just kind of shout at people when Pete's not there to shout loudly and make sure everyone rocks up. But yeah, I keep the Legion going. A couple of guys like Alex and Andy do a lot of work as well, like keeping it going. We've got a really fledgling scene there. Like, we've got loads of Heresy where we started. We've got Age of Sigmar, Lord of the Rings, Necromunda, 40k, and what we're looking to do this year. Now we've kind of been a year in our venue, our new venue. It was our original venue.
You were back, didn't you?
We're back there. We've got kind of a good setup, so we're going to start maybe doing Sundays.
Oh, okay.
But event themed Sundays.
Oh, right, cool.
So you kind of buy a ticket, and we'll have probably 4 Age of Sigmar tables and 4 40k at the same time, or we'll have a full whack of Heresy in one day.
That sounds good.
Probably the word.
Whack Heresy,
but that's like kind of organised play rather than proper full events. And then I'm sure Dan will want to run some really narrative, really cool events as
He'll probably want to sneak some Middle Earth in there as well, won't he?
Oh yeah, we'll be having some Middle Earth, definitely.
Hashtag infected by Collister, hashtag infected by Stu.
Yeah,
I think this is going around.
Was it Wuhan, whatever it is the start. So yeah, we've kind of grown as a club, which is great. We realised that we can get the hall on a Sunday at a good price, so we can do a reasonable price for people to come and have a game. So if people want to come and visit, come up on Saturday night and have a curry and have a drink, and they come and play some Heresy on a Sunday.
I need to get over stuff. More. I keep meaning to get over.
We know it's the Friday nights, so we run every other Friday night, and it can be quite hard for people working and family life. Whereas
I tend to do
an organised Sunday in a couple of months.
And our Northants Heresy runs on a Wednesday night, so it's awkward to do the Wednesday and then the Friday, but that's gone fortnightly now, so it's changed up a little bit. It might be easier.
It's obviously family life is family comes first.
Tough.
So.
My daughter turned 17 yesterday.
Wow.
So I've got a 17-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Keep her away from Heresy events, mate.
Oh God, no, it's too hard. She's still a baby.
She's not. But and obviously we'll make sure we don't clash with Greetings of the Walk this time. And look at their calendar events before.
March is a busy old month.
Signed up to the event,
but anyway.
and then double yourself.
March is a busy old month for events.
Probably launch this in maybe like April onwards or something. But there's so many Heresy events. It's really good, but it's quite hard to work out which ones you want to go to, which one you can go to.
There's some just sell out like that, and then there's others that are struggling a little bit. So
it's all about
location, dates,
timing,
things like that happen.
But the scene, I think the scene is doing well.
Yeah, it's doing well, and I think even if you sell it out, you don't, people's plans change last minute, so you never know what events will be like the week before because it's
that's
what
it.
Events are like.
Yeah, exactly. So and always get yourself on a reserve list because you never know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we'll wrap this up, guys. We've been going 3 odd hours. Whoever's managed to survive to the end, thank you. As I said, these are our opinions. Please don't slate us. If we got something wrong, then
keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself. Go to the Eye of Horus. Go
if you honestly, we have a Demons of the Ruinstorm Facebook group. Me and Tom are on there, so you're happy to kind of shout us out.
I think if we post up this episode, we'll pop it on the Heralds Heresy community page, and then if you guys, I'm happy for you to put it up on your page if you want to. And then if you just comment under that, if there's anything you want to ask or anything you're not sure about. Or maybe just advice, and then I think the community can help you out, and these guys know stuff. So,
I would say just don't Instagram message me because I never really look at it.
No,
very rare. But Facebook and stuff. Just
excellent. Well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Tom, for hosting us here.
Sorry.
And I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Heralds Tactica, and we'll see you soon.